Yes, the Wrigley Field marquee says it all. The Cubs are World Series champions for 2016. The players and coaches will board buses in about an hour to start the festivities. Our Kelly Crow will be on hand to handle interviews with some of the players and coaches.
The Cubs bus brigade will end up at Grant Park around noon, where hundreds of thousands will gather in Lower Hutchison Field for the rally. We will have the entire celebration covered for you right here on CSN. Welcome to the celebration of the century, presented by State Farm, the Chicago Cubs Championship Parade and Rally. Mike Stein with Marshanowski. I am Pat Well, just outside the famed marquee. Thousands have gathered here. It's a party, a century in the making, and I think it's a Ferris Bueller's Day here in Chicago. Yeah. Nobody's at school and nobody's at work, Mark.
Well, it should be a national holiday. We've been waiting so long for the Cubs to win a World Series championship, so kids are off of school, people are taking off of work. We got some young friends behind us that are waiting to get on TV. So we're happy they get a chance to say hello to all their friends who are watching on television or streaming live at csnchicago.com. It's going to be a great day, and this parade is going to go in about an hour. I'm sure the Cubs players have been celebrating ever since that final out in Cleveland.
Yeah, and so have the fans here
as well,
in Wrigleyville. Yeah. So in about an hour, 10 o'clock, the players and the party will board the buses here at Wrigley Field. They'll make their way east on Addison to Inner Lakeshore Drive. Then they'll take Belmont to get onto Lakeshore Drive. Eventually, about noon, they will, or 11 a.m., they will get to Michigan Avenue. Will then make their way down the Mag Mile and make their way to Grant Park, where at noon in Lower Hutchison Field, they will conduct the rally. And the city's asking for fans to view at 3 locations on Sheffield, North Michigan Avenue between Oak and Ohio, Columbus Drive between Monroe and Balboa Avenue. The only thing with more twists and turns than this parade route has been this Cubs season. Predicted to win it all at the beginning of the season, but again, even to the very end, Game 7, we had to go to extras to decide this thing.
Well, I'll tell you, watching those games was so stressful for all long-time Cub fans. It was really tough, the ebbs and flows, the roller coaster of emotions, and Game 7 kind of typified it all. But now everyone can kind of exhale, enjoy the celebration, which is going to continue all the way till spring training with the Cubs being World Series champions. David Kaplan and Todd Hollingsworth covered it every step of the way. They're standing by at Grant Park, where the rally will begin about noon. Cap, Holly, take it away.
All right, thank you, guys. Great to be here with Todd Hollingsworth, CM Punk, who is a lifelong Chicagoan and a diehard Cubs fan. Holly, I'll start with you. We were there every step, as Mark said. It was pretty emotional the other night for not just us, but the millions of Cub fans. There were a lot of tears.
Hey, man, I felt your pain. I felt their pain. I didn't get it, the way that we talk about it here in Chicago and the history and how this has to go. I just kind of understood that winning the moment was what this was all about. I might have been the right person for the right spot because I wasn't born here. I came here as a player about a decade ago, and I was just all about figuring out a way to win. You guys were expressing to me that this is so soulful, that this is going to take more. Game 7, I thought it was ours in the bag. You thought, no way, not until we get the last out. Don't even talk to me right now. And I thought, man, that's great stuff. I mean, that's what this is all about.
CM, how about you? Because you, like me, we grew up here and we go, there are no done deals with the Cubs until it's done.
No, absolutely not. You talk about curses and you talk about the bad luck, Ron Santo, the black cat, a goat, all this ridiculous stuff. So, yeah, I was holding my breath for a lot of those last outs. And when they tied it up with that home run, I was like, oh, not again, not again. And I'm pacing back and forth as much as I can in my seat. But I believed, I knew they can get it done. This team has been amazing throughout the entire year. Best team in baseball, and now they're the champs.
The amazing thing is to watch how this team rebounded. But when that home run off Rajai Davis flew out of the ballpark, I think every Cub fan went, okay, this is the ultimate in cruelty.
Would you have it any other way, though? You knew they weren't going to come in.
Not the way it ended.
This team wasn't going to come in and sweep anybody. You knew there was going to be some drama. They had you on the edge of your seat like they have for, my entire lifetime. This team is so good, though, that they didn't give up, just like the fans don't give up on them, and they came through in the clutch.
you and I were out there outside the ballpark in the bottom of the 8th, and I'm pacing back and forth. And when the Cubs finally sealed this whole deal,
Right.
it was like, okay, now that that's behind us, you feel like it'll never be an issue again where people will doubt him.
Right. Well, and it's like the idea that this was going to be this Mount Everest that the fans, that the team, everybody had to climb over. I mean, I saw it that way, I guess, because I saw it through your eyes, and I see it through your eyes as fans see it. But for me, I kept believing in this team. I mean, they won 200 games during the regular season over the last 2 years. How many times have they rallied back to win games and give you that never quit attitude? I saw that in them. But you're right. In that moment, when that Game 7 got tied, I thought maybe, just maybe, I'm starting to understand what everybody who is born here and raised here believes is going to happen. And I thought, is this really going to happen in front of us? I thought, they got this thing. Listen, it's tied. They're going to come back. They're going to score. They're going to win this ball game. Nothing to worry here. But I saw it through your eyes finally as a fan and as somebody who was born and raised here. And I get it, man. It's over and done with. We can let this thing go now, and we can all rest assured. I told you, the World Series that they win after this one will be way easier.
There won't be as much stress. Don't you feel like the rain delay was kind of God saying, hey, you guys need a little time out, have your meeting, and then we'll get you back on the field?
Well, I don't know about divine intervention, but I think it definitely helped. It helped calm my nerves. Where I was sitting, the seats directly in front of myself and my lovely wife were soaked. We were dry as a bone. So I was just kind of sitting there like, well, it could be worse. It could always be worse. As a Cubs fan, I say that a lot. It could always be worse. And it kind of put everything on ice. It was like a big timeout. They got to regroup. You now know that Jason Hayward had a little player meeting, kind of got everybody's head right. And they went out there, and I was still confident, worried but confident. And they got on base. They did it.
Worried but confident. Love it.
Oh, man.
Right.
Yeah, I was freaked out but confident. All right, we have a whole slew of people all around the city. Let's go to Kelly Krull.
All right, here we are outside of Wrigley as players start to filter in before the championship parade. Take a look at the scene out here. Tons of fans already lining up. Here we have C.J. Edwards headed in. We've seen a number of them. The buses in the far background there, 2016 World Champions. The Chicago Cubs, guys, that's what we get to say in front of their name every single time. Now this is going to be such an incredible afternoon. Shortly we'll be loading the buses. Big cheers for Kyle Schwarber. Oh, it's not even 9 o'clock yet in the morning. These fans are pumped and ready to go.
Chuck Garfien, I'm at the corner of Waveland and Seminary. This is where it's all going to begin. The players will be arriving from this parking lot and then walking over here to the double-decker buses here on Waveland Avenue. And then at around 10:30, that is when they're going to be scheduled to get started on this long, amazing, incredible, unforgettable parade through the city of Chicago. Some fans got here at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning. You got here at what time?
6.
And what does your boss think about this?
I'm my own boss, so it's great.
You've been waiting your whole life for this.
Yes, I have. 30 years.
30 years.
Yeah.
Can you believe this is actually happening?
No, it's amazing.
This is not a dream, right?
No, it's real.
It's real.
For real.
Okay, you're going to remember this for the rest of your life?
For real. Yes,
Okay.
for the rest of
You need
it.
to be pinched. This is actually happening.
This is happening. We did it. Woo!
Much more reaction here from the corner of Waveland and Seminary coming up. Back to you.
All right, thanks, guys. Luke Stuckmeyer and Layla Rahimi. We have a spectacular vantage point here up on the top of London House where the parade will eventually be going by.
Yeah, this is really tough work, Luke. We're on a rooftop. We get one of the best views of the city. But the important thing is we get to see the view of Michigan Avenue, and that is where our vantage point is. That's where the Cubs buses will be going by on the parade route. It is a beautiful day. You can't say much more about the clear, nice weather. Lake Michigan is in the background as well as the river. It's one of the best vantage points in the city as we get to see all the fans, some of them actually on the rooftop early to see the Cubs and the parade.
The sky is Cubby blue. The river is now Cubby blue. They've been spending the morning boats going up and down the Chicago River, dyeing the river blue. If you can see behind us, down below, when it comes up Michigan Avenue, the buses will go right between the Tribune Tower and the Wrigley Building, so two very big landmarks here in Chicago. Fans are lining up along those two venue points, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're at a great spot here looking down at both the river being dyed and the fans starting to line up alongside those two big buildings as we get ready for the parade. I guess it would come by here maybe about 11:30. I'm going to guess the buses might get here sometime between 11 and 11:30 if they leave at 10 o'clock from Wrigley.
Yeah, it should be about at that time. And right now, so far, the traffic looks fairly good. Not a lot of cabs to be found. I assume they're taking fans places. That's a hint. But so far, so good as far as the vantage point and logistics, as fans need to be in place somewhere to watch a parade.
Yeah, bring your walking shoes, that's for sure. Get in line as early as possible. We've had some helicopters going by, so it might get noisy up here when we're here. But for now, nice and calm, just waiting for the world champion Cubs to make their way to Wacker and Michigan Avenue.
Guys, good morning. If we're to make an analogy of where this point of the parade is compared to the journey, the 7-month journey the Cubs were just on that began back in April, I suppose think October or maybe the start of the League Championship Series against the Dodgers. Home stretch of this parade and this rally and celebration. We're on the very north edge of Grant Park where fans can begin gathering. Art Institute on one corner, Maggie Daley Park on the opposite corner. Again, this is the northernmost part where fans can begin gathering and then heading on south towards Balbo and eventually the party of the century, or perhaps the party of the century +8, down at Hutchinson Field. And that'll culminate this huge celebration. Perfect blue skies today on a day that the city is painted completely blue, honoring the Cubs World Series championship. We're expecting the buses, the caravan of Cubs buses, to come by around noon or so, coming down as they make the turn from Ohio down onto Columbus Avenue and then all the way down to Hutchinson Field. But of course, that's going to be very fluid. You just never know. Covering the Cubs parade and rally for CSN, I'm Chris Bowden from the north end of Grant Park. Let's send it back to you.
Yes, it's definitely blow out the budget coverage. We've got reporters stationed at every stop along the way. We'd like you at home to get interactive with us. Of course, we're streaming live on csnchicago.com, and we've got our fan poll question today. Did you ever think you would live to see the Cubs win the World Series? It's a pretty simple question. Your options are also simple, yes or no, and we will update results throughout. And Pat, I've been in Chicago covering sports since 1990, and there were a lot of times along the way where I ever wondered, would I ever see the Cubs win the World Series? You talk about a bucket list for covering sporting events. This is definitely on it because this is probably the biggest story in American sports right now for a team that has suffered for so long and a fan base that's been so loyal and so passionate to be enjoying this moment. I always kind of wondered what would this be like, and we're going to get a glimpse of it today.
Yeah, it's hard to believe this is going to be the 12th championship since the Bears won in 1985, but by far the most emotional. Even though this is a town divided with baseball fan bases, there's no question this is going to be the most emotional celebration of all of the parades and rallies we've had here in the city of Chicago. And even when you look back at this series, you know, waiting 108 years fine, how about the twists and turns in this series? You know, trailing the Giants back in Game 4, 5-2 in the ninth inning, then being down to the Dodgers in the NLCS. 2-1.
Yeah, they got shut out back-to-back games by Kershaw and Rich Hill, of all people, the former Cub, and they're down 2-1. Had to go out to Los Angeles and win a couple of games. They were able to do that, came back, beat Kershaw in Game 6 to get to the World Series. This is a team that's resilient. I think the fact that they have so many young guys who aren't aware of the past history of the franchise, who aren't worried about past failures, this is all new to them. And they expect to succeed, and I think that's something that's been instilled from the very top with Theo Epstein and Jed Hoyer. It's a message that Joe Maddon sends on a daily basis. These guys play with a fearless style, and that served them well when they got down both in the NLCS and in the World Series.
Yeah, even when they made mistakes, they managed to rally together, and they had the talent to overcome those mistakes. Being down 3-1 in the Fall Classic to the Cleveland Indians, and then to have a 5-1 lead in Game 7, a 6-3 lead in the 8th inning, and have that go bye-bye thanks to Rajay Davis. Again, we heard Cap and Holly talk about the meeting. I mean, that was divine intervention. That rain delay, that 18-minute rain delay, where Jason Hayward, you can call that the, $186 million pep talk? I mean, what he was telling those players was basically a summary of what he went through this year, and a lot of them. Lots of ups and downs with baseball. He certainly did that at the plate, but when it was all said and done, they had to go out there and win a ball game, and they got it done in the 10th inning.
Yeah, for people to say that Jason Hayward's been a disappointment, well, he's had a bad year at the plate, but his biggest contribution came during that short rain delay. As you mentioned, he got the team together and reminded them of just how good they are. The fact that the game's not over. It's 6-6. We're going to come out in the top of the 10th inning with the meat of our order up, led off by Kyle Schwarber, which we'll talk about later. His amazing story. And, you know, Hayward, with the veteran presence, even though he's only 26 years old, reminded the guys, we've been the best team in baseball all season long. We're going to start fresh when we go back out there, and that's exactly what they did. So Hayward did not have a great year at the plate. He's going to rebuild his swing in the offseason, hopefully come back and be a different player in 2017. But his contribution to this championship can't be forgotten.
Contributions all over the place. How about Almora tagging up?
Yeah, smart.
Schwarber leading off the 10th with the base knock. You could go up and down. There were contributions from free agents that Theo and Jet added, from homegrown talent that they acquired along the way. And let's take a look back at Game 7 of the Fall Classic.
Once upon a time, 2016 Chicago Cubs won the World Series.
176 years of combined frustration ends for one side. Spot in the biggest game of his life. A strikeout for out number 2. Here's one there, and he got him. Here comes Bryant. Throw to the plate. Safe. Under the tag, and the Cubs lead 2-1. High fly ball into right center. Davis came in, goes back. Won't get there off the wall. In to score is Zobrist, and the lead is 2. It's 3-1. Lester, here's a fly ball into right center. Back at the wall. The bat of Baez, 4-1. Throw by Chisenhall. Now Kempnis. Another run. Bryant safe, and it's 5-1. A strikeout ends the inning. Lester pumped up. 2 out. With this, Game 7 is going to the 10th. Hard hit, base hit. Zobrist stands a base hit. Cubs will take the lead. Almora digging to the plate. Zobrist delivers 7-6 in the 10th. Chicago. Here's the 0-1. This is going to be a tough play. Bryant, the Cubs win the World Series. Bryant makes the play. It's over. And the Cubs have finally won it all. 8-7-10.
Well, it was so much fun to watch the highlights of Game 7 all over again, and even in victory, it didn't come easy. The Cubs get 2 in the top of the 10th inning, but they'd already used their relievers that Joe really wanted to bring in there. So Carl Edwards Jr. comes in, gets the first 2 outs, and then they get a run to make it 8-7. Mike Montgomery gets the little dribbler, and even on that one, Chris Bryant slipped a little bit on the wet grass, but still was able to get the out. And the great scenes of him with the grin on his face as he's thrown over to first kind of captured the emotions of Cub fans everywhere.
Ben Zobrist comes up with a big hit. He ends up MVP. Of course, won last year with Kansas City, from the state of Illinois, from a family that cheered for the Cubs as a kid. Just a storybook season from start to finish. I know we've had less than 48 hours to really reflect on this season. Is there a phrase or a sentence that kind of sums up this journey that the Cubs have taken you on?
Yeah, I would say really they've just been a relentless team all year long. Even when they had a couple of mini slumps, they would always jump out of it and come back even stronger. This was a team that had no fear. They had great leadership from Joe Maddon. They had a young nucleus that just was learning on the job, and they just knew that they could get this job done. We look at Anthony Rizzo, who's emerged as such a great leader for this team. Chris Bryant in his second year, most likely the National League most valuable player. And the health of this team was also a great story. I mean, the fact that they didn't have a lot of depth of pitching in the organization, but those 5 starters went out throughout the season and racked up a lot of wins, and they were just so consistent throughout. This was a team that was put together perfectly by Theo Epstein and Jed Hoyer. The offseason acquisitions, you mentioned getting Ben Zobrist in here. You can't overstate how important he was. You know, he was so clutch for the Royals last year when they won the World Series, and that hit he got in the 10th inning was what carried the Cubs to the World Series.
You look at the veterans that Theo and Jed added to this young mix, going out and getting John Lester and David Ross. I mean, can you pick a Chicago athlete that has had more of an impact on a city in less than 2 years? And then for him to go out the way he did in his final game, hitting a home run and being carried off the field at Progressive Field, again, who's ever writing the screenplay, and I'm sure there's about 15 people right now penning one right now in Hollywood, it's going to be an amazing story to tell. And the Kyle Schwarber story. I mean, we thought for sure that this guy, we were told repeatedly there was no chance he was going to return. And he played such an integral role in the Cubs winning the World Series.
Well, Kyle didn't talk to the media a lot during his rehab, but whenever he was asked, he'd say, well, I'm just trying to get ready. You know, I haven't ruled anything out. And just towards the end of the regular season, Theo Epstein made a point of saying, well, you won't see Kyle Schwarber until spring training 2017. But then he got the go-ahead from his doctor that you can go full scale, and he decided to ramp things up playing in the Arizona Fall League and coming back. And we all wondered, what would his timing be like? And he just put in the work. He is an amazing hitter, a natural-born hitter, and he showed in the World Series that he was ready to roll.
We are less than 40 minutes away from the Cubs players, the team officials, and the special guests boarding their buses here at Wrigley Field and beginning their way down the parade route. Time for our first break here on Celebration of the Century, presented by State Farm, as we celebrate the Cubs World Series Championship live on CSN.
Cubs Celebration of the Century is presented by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM.
Schwarber with another base hit. Cubs up 4-0 here in the 5th inning, and Schwarber's knocked home 2.
Kyle Schwarber's 5th inning single in Game 2, one of the top plays of the World Series, and brought to you by State Farm. Schwarber had a pair of RBI hits in the Cubs' 5-1 victory. That tied the series at a game apiece.
We're back on Celebration of the Century, presented by State Farm, as we celebrate the Cubs World Series Championship. We're bringing you the parade and rally live here on CSN. A party that's been going on now for almost 48 hours here in Wrigleyville.
Non-stop.
And you know, one that's really emotional, because these fans, you know, have always been told since they were young, you know, will we ever see them win it all? And they, upon, you know, the Game 7 win, we're also celebrating for those who cheered for this team but aren't here to celebrate.
Well, there's no question about it. Everyone has a story about a loved one that's passed away. My father-in-law, Herb, died a couple of years ago, and he was just a devoted fan. They'd watch the games every afternoon and cheer on the Cubs even when they weren't doing all that well. And everyone has that story about someone who wanted to see the Cubs win the World Series, unfortunately didn't get to do it. But this young team was the one that came through. You remember back in 08, they had the best record in baseball, lost in 3 straight to the Dodgers. This team, for whatever reason, maybe it was the leadership of Joe Maddon, was oblivious to the pressure, and that really served them well.
Certainly an emotional win and celebration for all of the Cubs faithful, including our own David Kaplan, who's at Grant Park right now with his right-hand man, Todd Hollandsworth, and our good buddy, Mr. Parade, CM Punk. Guys, take it away.
Yeah, Pat, you made a great point, Mr. Parade. I said to you when I saw you, man, we got to keep doing stuff like this. We did the Blackhawks with Pat. Here we are on a Cubs parade. It's pretty amazing.
Let me tell you, I feel fortunate to be here. I could do 2 of these a year with you guys. We got to get the Bears rolling.
Right.
You know, if there was a Sox parade, you might have to use somebody else. But you know, I'm Cubs blue through and through. You know, hopefully we won't have any Sox fans up here today.
Yeah, exactly. Not every celebrity's that way sometimes. Let's talk about what we saw in Game 6 before we get to Game 7. Because Game 6, Joe Maddon brought Chapman out of the bullpen. You hear people go, "What are you doing? You're up 7-2." And he said, "I had to extinguish any thought that they were coming back on us." I understood it. A lot of people were critical of Joe, yet here they are standing as champions.
Well, and I think the thing that we all understand in this situation, Cap, that ultimately this team picks each other up. And that's the one thing that I honed in on. Listen, I know that we have our opinions of how that played itself out, and I know that not everybody agrees. Not all the analysts agree. I wasn't even completely on board with how Chapman came into that ball game right there. But here's the bottom line. This team responds to Joe Maddon, and you're never going to manage perfectly. You're never going to play the game of baseball perfectly. It's impossible. It's an imperfect game. You fail constantly, and managers make mistakes. And I'm not saying that he made a mistake right there. I certainly understand that situation. But as you saw Game 7 unfold, you start to go, oh, my gosh, Chapman doesn't look right. This game is tied. What just happened? We're reliving the moment once again. So I think in that situation, what you have to really recognize is what this team is known for, battling back. That's what they've done all season long. They did it last year. They do it this year. And when it comes to dissecting the manager's moves, you know what? I felt like in that moment what needed to be said was this team has Joe Maddon's back. You know what? Absolutely. Something happened there that, you know, maybe it just didn't feel like it was going to go the right way. But they rallied together and they said, you know, we're going to have the big at-bats. We're going to win this ball game no matter what anybody thinks. Those moves are so hard to make in those moments. Listen, Joe Maddon, he makes a lot of money. He's one of the best in the business because of those tough decisions that he's got to make. But the reality is, any manager will tell you, I'm only as good as the players you give me. And the reality is they showed up and they got it done.
Listen, I was nervous. He put Chappie in. I'm thinking, you know, the day of rest in between Game 5 and 6 I thought was good. But then, you know, he was using Chapman for like a 9-out save, an 8-out save. And, you know, I'm pulling my hair out. But, you know, who am I? And like you said, here we are. They won. So it all turns out good in the end. But I think there's huge ball players on the Cubs. There's big names. There's big bats. There's star pitchers. But when it comes down to it, my favorite part about this team is how everybody contributed. You know, there isn't a person up and down that lineup that didn't do something that I feel was spectacular in a way that positioned them to win. Best team in baseball. They won 200 games in 2 years. You can't name one person. We had 3 catchers in that game, and they all contributed.
All had an RBI.
Yeah. You know, and every single one of them fearless at the plate. You know, Montero, you don't load the bases against this guy, as you saw in the Dodgers game. You know, he hit a grand slam. Everybody up and down the lineup, I don't care who it was, got on base, made a great defensive play. And as fans, as non-players, you can criticize and you can armchair manage. You know, say a lot of the media giving Hayward a lot of junk about him not producing at the plate. Look at the throw he made to get somebody out. I think it was in Game 6.
Right.
I mean, he made a spectacular catch off the wall. You know, defensively, his glove, I think, warrants the money he gets paid. This whole team, the whole team contributed. That's why I love baseball. It's not just one guy holding up the team, 1 or 2, 3 guys. It's everybody. You saw 2 starting pitchers in Game 7. You saw how many guys from the bullpen. You had a closer who didn't get the job done, but everyone said, "Don't worry about it." You know, hey Chappie, don't worry about it.
We got your back.
We got your back.
Yep.
And I honestly believe that this is the new era of this Cubs team moving forward. I know that I get in trouble around here for getting ahead of myself sometimes, but I look at what this team is on paper and what they've done over the last 2 seasons. You guys can both tell me that this team has found more ways to lose over the last 108 years, although you can't speak for all 108, but you know what I mean, This is a team that finds a way to win. I mean, how thrilling it must be to
Future's
feel like
pretty bright.
Well, that's my point. I mean, what did we just witness? Instead of finding ways to lose the World Series, they found a way to win the World Series. And I think that those who have been born in Chicago, raised in Chicago, have watched this team for as long as you have, your entire lives, you would tell me more times than not, and in fact, all the time, we always find a way to lose. The lovable losers.
Right.
We are now a team that finds
That
a way to win.
was me in the 8th inning. That was CM in the 8th inning.
Absolutely right. That's why I couldn't connect
gotta
with it,
be
because
kidding me.
I didn't know what it meant, and I saw it in your face, and I saw what you were feeling. But what was going on in that moment was very hard for me to identify with because I didn't get it. It wasn't all the way
Now
into
you
my
do.
childhood, and I understand it now because I saw what you were living.
Yeah, because when that home run flew out, I thought, okay, I lived through 2003. I lived through 84. You've got to be kidding me. Now you're going to take my heart out. You're going to set it right there and go, oh, you're good, 6-3. You're okay. And then, bam!
But see, you start
that one.
You start to expect it, right? I think as a Cub fan
Absolutely.
who's born and raised in this town, born and raised as a Cubs fan, you sit there and you're like, we're supposed to lose. And somehow you're when you're born into it, you accept it. And like I asked you, do you feel like there's been this incredible release? Like, I think 3 million people today are here to release that. It's
gone.
over.
It's gone.
We don't have to carry
and
that.
all this other gone. Dead.
What you carry on the inside, that, I think there might be a little anger, a little
Baggage.
resentment. Well, whatever it is, it's centered around accepting loss or losing. Think about all the relatives that we talk about, the ones that are no longer with us. I mean, again, see how it's all about losing? That's it. It ends today. Today it's all about winning from here forward.
All your friends who are Cardinals fans can't laugh at you anymore.
Right.
It's a good feeling. It still hasn't sunk in for me. I'm sitting
Same
here
here
with you guys. We're talking about the Cubs. They just won the World Series. They're champs. They're going to be here shortly with 3 million of their friends. And it hasn't sunk in yet. I don't know when it will. I don't know if it ever will. I'm leaving right after here. I'm going to go vote, and I'm going to go get a Cubs tattoo.
I love it.
Good day.
Yeah,
I love
not
that.
bad.
What number tattoo is that?
Oh, I don't.
A lot.
1908.
That'll be very cool. Very cool. All right. We are going to send it back out, I believe, to Pat Boyle and to Mark Shanowski. They are outside Wrigley Field. Don't forget the rally here with, as these guys just said, with 3 or 4 million of their closest friends. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Cap, thank you very much. CM Punk's going to get a Cubs tattoo. Oddly enough, Shanowski told me he's doing the exact same thing after today's rally. Maybe you and Punk can go together.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah, I got nothing planned for later this afternoon. Let's do it.
Sure. Go ahead.
Well, is Kelly standing by with Len Casper? I know that was one of the things we were going to do right now.
Let's do it.
Let's hear from Len Casper, the voice of the Cubs, with our Kelly Crow.
Well, here with Len Casper, play-by-play man for the now World Series champions Chicago Cubs. And how does that sound, Len? What a weekend this has been.
It has been an unbelievable ride, Kelly. This whole month feels like the Giants series was like a year ago. I'm still kind of trying to wrap my head around Game 7, and it's about the championship. It's about the whole ride, but that's going to go down as one of the wildest, I think, most significant Game 7s in pro sports history when you consider the historic nature of the Indians and the Cubs and the way that game played out. It really was incredible, and at the time I wouldn't have said this because when the Indians tied it, I think my stomach hurt like a lot of Cubs fans were feeling, but the fact that they were able to hang in there and win the game in 10 innings kind of made that even sweeter, I think, the way it played out.
Absolutely. For you, the conversations that you've had now with whether it be fans or your own family or the players, what stood out to you just about the reaction?
I just think it's very difficult to get to this point and to win the World Series. And I think it really sinks in just how hard it is. The Cubs won 114 games when you add up 103 in the regular season and then the 11 wins it takes to win the World Series in the postseason. It's very tough to do. I felt like the Cubs were always the best team in baseball, but it doesn't guarantee that you're going to win the World Series. So I'm really happy for every Cub fan on the planet who's been waiting their whole life for this. And really happy for this group because it's a great team. It's a tight-knit group, as you know so well. And, just happy for everybody. There's just so much to be thankful for.
That's absolutely right. And I've also been asked the question, and it's hard for me to put into words, the understanding of the youth to this group. Of course, there were guys like the David Rosses and John Lackeys and Lesters who were brought in for this reason. But can you put in perspective how difficult the challenge becomes, not only for any ball player, but when you're 22, 23, and 24 years old.
Well, there's some naivete, I guess, involved that's good, in that I don't think Addison Russell and Albert Almora Jr. and Wilson Contreras and even Chris Bryant, they really felt the pressure of history. I think they felt internal pressure of trying to succeed and to thrive and to win the World Series. JD has said this many times. There's enough pressure on a ball player as it is. And then to add on top of it all the Cubs' history. But they never looked to me like that was an issue. And if anything, I think this was the exact type of group that was going to get this thing done. And I think they're going to be here again. That's the great thing about it is, you know, everything kind of changes for a Cub fan because your team is a World Series champion. But I think the goal here was to spoil the fans, and I think everybody should expect this team to be back in this position next year.
Great perspective. You never know the window. They got it done, and that's what matters most. But now, this city today, it's about them and thanking them for all their support. What are your expectations for this parade?
Whatever they are, they will be wildly exceeded. I'm already hearing some crazy numbers in terms of how many people are going to be here to witness this. I am just going to take it all in. There was stress, nervousness, anxiety, all those things that go along with every game that the Cubs played in the postseason. Today is just about having fun, party atmosphere, but, you know, keep it kind of safe and fun, loose. Be good, everybody, but you know what I mean? Just take it all in. I think it's going to be awesome. I'll take a lot of pictures. There'll be a lot of laughs, and I think a lot of memories as we talk about what happened this season.
That's a great point, and that was what I wanted to end with you on. For you got to step into the radio booth here with Pat Hughes and stuff for the World Series and help make that call. What was that moment like for you? And just, is there anything, whether it be today, the parade, or with the World Series, that you were like, you know, I really want to make sure I take a picture, or I grab some dirt from the field, whatever it may have been?
Yeah, you know, I was actually right near the dugout when the final out occurred, and I had my headphones on listening to Pat and Ron and their final call. And just to walk out onto the field and see the coaching staff all embrace, tears streaming down everybody's face. I chatted with Anthony Rizzo, as I know you did, right after the game, and he was bawling. I mean, this was really emotional. So that's kind of what I take from the other night at Game 7. And then beyond that, I think, you know, I want to get a picture of David Ross. I think that of all the stories, I mean, Kyle Hendricks, we can go down the list. When I think about this season, I think about the postseason and all of it, the journey David had in his final Major League season, I don't think anybody could have written a script that would have been any better than what actually occurred. It's so rare. I don't know if we'll ever see anything again quite like it. 2 years as a Cub, and he's going to go down as one of the iconic players in the history of this franchise.
There's no question, and that for me was a moment watching him get hoisted up by Rizzo there in Hayward, and he's wiping tears away from his eyes. It really, that moment was so strong and poetic, really, it really was. Well, Lynn, I know you're busy afternoon. Thank you for taking this time. Enjoy this afternoon for all of your hard work and everything you've put in. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Kelly. Great work by you all year.
Guys.
All right, Kelly, thank you very much. And the reality of baseball broadcasting is you get to enjoy Len Kasper and Jim Deshaies for 162 games on CSN, and then the networks take over when the playoffs arrive, and so they're left kind of on the outside looking in. But Len got involved. He called the fifth inning on the radio broadcasts, and then he was on the field doing interviews. So it was great he was getting a chance to be a part of this because Len is very passionate about this team and about the sport of baseball.
Yeah, it was great for him to be there with Pat Hughes and Ron Coomer in the score booth. And, of course, you have to think that, you know, Harry Carey and maybe Santo had a barroom seat in upstairs, and maybe were part of the reason why we had that nice little rain delay.
They might have set that down, yeah.
Also, hey, while we had this time talking about the broadcasters, kudos to our crew that covered the Cubs from Mesa all the way till today. It looks like a lot of fun showing you the behind-the-scenes celebrations in the locker room, but it's a lot of work to take all that equipment from Mesa all the way through 6 months to San Francisco, Los Angeles, and of course Cleveland here to round things out. So kudos to Cap and Holly, Kelly Kroll all season long, and all the producers, Jeff Nelson, and all the men and women, all the camera people.
Mark Harper, the technical side.
That really did a tremendous job of bringing you this historic run by the Chicago Cubs. Now, I don't know if you got to see this, but about a driver 5-iron from here, maybe an 8-iron for you because you're a long hitter, you know, long robes.
Yeah.
Ben Zobrist lives, just like a lot of the Cubs players. Yesterday, Ben Zobrist had hundreds of Cubs fans in his front yard.
What a scene this is.
He
crazy.
signed autographs for close to 3 hours yesterday. I mean, that's the kind of guy Ben Zobrist is.
Hey, Halloween might have been Monday, but the real trick or treat was yesterday. Ben Zobrist in front of his house with hundreds of kids getting his autograph, and that had to be a memory that those kids will never forget. I mean, posing for pictures. Ben couldn't have been more gracious.
No, and there's some backstory. Juliana, his wife, nearly missed him coming through with the RBI in the 10th inning. She was nursing their baby during the rain delay and didn't realize the game had resumed, saw it, raced back to her seat, and saw her husband come through with another clutch hit as he wins back-to-back World Series championships. So just another thing to add to the list.
Right.
And later on today, David Kaplan will be standing in front of his house signing autographs. And he'll be there for like 5 hours, folks, so you better get there fast.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. And so many players throughout this whole run were talking about the fact that they wanted to win it for the fans. And it wasn't just idle conversation or patronizing. They really care about this fan base, and they wanted to win this championship, bring it home, and start this celebration, which is going to go on all weekend long.
In about 15 minutes from now, the Cubs players, team officials, and their traveling party will board the buses here at Wrigley Field and begin the parade route. We're going to step aside right now on Championship of the Century, presented by State Farm, live on CSN.
Congratulations, Cubs, from your hometown flooring retailer, Lumber Liquidators, hardwood floors for less.
Welcome back to CSN's coverage of the Cubs Championship Parade and Rally. The fans are showing up at Grant Park. There's going to be hundreds of thousands of people to greet the Cubs when they arrive. The rally schedule will start around noon, but right now we're waiting for the Cubs buses to leave from Wrigley Field. Players and coaches have started to arrive. Our Kelly Kroll had a chance to catch up with the Cubs chairman, Tom Ricketts. Kelly?
Well, guys, here with Tom Ricketts, owner of the world champion Chicago Cubs. How does that sound, Tom? It's been a pretty special couple of weeks now.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, these last few days have been a whirlwind. All the drama, all the excitement of the World Series, and now we get to celebrate.
What was that Game 7 emotional roller coaster like for you?
I've never had anything like it in my life. Obviously, there were so many ups and downs, so much drama. Anyone that was there will know that was the loudest crowd for both sides. I mean, it was an incredible atmosphere, an incredible game, and such an incredible thing just being part of it.
For you, who was the first person you really wanted to share that moment with right after the game, right after it happened, whether it be an embrace or someone you wanted to make sure?
Just my long-suffering wife, who gets really no credit for all the hours and time and stress she puts up with. But then the whole family was there, so we all got a chance to have a little hug and get down to the clubhouse, and then inside the clubhouse, Theo and Crane, the three of us have really kind of been through the war together, and it's all coming out okay. So it was good, but everybody was there. We had a chance to really celebrate.
So humble, it's all coming out okay. This is about as good as it could have come out. But a lot's made about the plan and how you had to go about executing this from start to finish. What are you most proud of now?
Well, I think just the fact our fans. We kind of told them what we were doing, and they could have walked away, and no one did. Everyone kind of stuck with us, and and ultimately this championship really is for them. It's not just for the fans that stuck through the last few years, some pretty lean years as we made this team better, but the fans that for generations supported this team, and this is a team. We on the day we got that NLCS pennant or the NL pennant. Mm-hmm. Someone said, "This is for your trophy case," and I'm like, "We don't have a trophy case. We don't have trophies." So, for all the people that hung with us for all that time, with very little payoff, this is all about them today. And I think there's going to be about 4.5 million of them down there, so we'll have a lot of fun. So.
Well, you're going to have to change that now. There's going to have to be a trophy case, Tom.
Yeah, I'm willing to spring for a
Maybe
trophy
a big
case.
one.
Yeah.
Well, you have set this team up as well as Theo with the guys that have come in, young guys, great character guys, whether moves to be made, whatever. But this is supposed to be sustained success for the fans now. I mean, that's the plan, right? How happy are you that that's what you're seeing now?
Well, I think in addition to obviously winning, which was huge, it was also interesting to note that we had the youngest lineup in the history of the World Series. So. That says a lot about how fast our players are maturing. It says a lot about how we should be good going forward. And if players that are 22, 23, 24 years old grow like most players do, and they reach their peak when they're 26, 27, 28, this team's got a lot of upside left. So, just because you're a good team doesn't mean you get to the World Series every year. The playoffs are tough. But I think we'll be able to compete for our division for years to come.
Absolutely. Well, last thing, you mentioned the fans. You've been here to see, whether it be the Bulls or the Blackhawks parades. What are you most looking forward to and anticipating this afternoon?
I don't know. I'm just looking forward to getting up and saying a few things without passing out. I was all cool until the mayor just told me there might be 4 million people at this parade, and I'm like, oh, my God. So I got to hold it together for a few more hours, and that's my goal.
Well, Tom, it has been a pleasure speaking with you. Congratulations on everything. We look forward to that sustained success like we were talking about for years to come.
Yeah, and thanks for all your great work this year, too.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it, guys.
Kelly, Tom, thank you very much. A gorgeous day out here at Hutchinson Field at Grant Park. I'm David Kaplan. He's Todd Hollingsworth. He is the world-famous CM Punk. So we were talking while we weren't on that you, in Game 2, I think, of the Giants series, you come to the ballpark, you got your seats, and they said, oh, by the way, CM, we would like to have you do play ball. Take the story from there.
Well, it's funny. I wrestle in front of 80,000 people in my underwear. I get beat up on pay-per-view. I got no problem doing any of these things. There's something about Wrigley Field. Anytime I've had to throw a first pitch, sing the seventh inning stretch, and I think it's because I was born and raised here. Some of my earliest memories of watching and listening to Harry Carey call games. Wrigley Field to me is sacred ground. I'm not a religious guy. That's church to me. It's special.
The best.
Yeah. So I show up early, and they tell me, oh, hey, do us a favor, do this. And they say it in like this joking manner. So
hey, by the way, would you mind doing
do us a favor? Hey, guy, do us a favor. And I was
play
like,
ball.
Yeah, sure. Who canceled on you? Is, Bill Murray not available? And they're like, no, we just didn't want to tell you ahead of time because we knew how freaked out you'd be. So I'm on the field, and I look at them. I go, what do I say? And they're like, you used to do this every week, talk to 20,000 people. They were confused. They didn't know what was wrong with me. So they started to get worried. So Max Berman, who works for the Cubs office, he comes up to me. He goes, seriously, are you okay? How do you feel right now? And I just looked at him and I said, I could bench press a car. Let's do this. So I went out there, and I was nervous, and my voice cracked when I did it. That's how nervous I was. But to me, it was, let's get this crowd fired up. I think I name-dropped Harry Carey, Ron Santo, Ernie Banks. And just to be able to do that, 40,000 people, Wrigley Field, like that. To me, there's no bigger high-pressure situation, and I'm just a fan.
Right.
I'm not on the mound trying to,
Well, it's great that you and I are sitting up here because I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, all right, that was my workspace for 20 years. Minor leaguer, 12 years at the major league level. I get it, man. I walk out there. My heart doesn't race. I'm used to being out there.
Well, guys
but
like us,
the funny thing about it is if I was in your shoes in a ring in front of 80,000 people in my underwear, oh, my gosh, I have no shot. It's, you kind of step into our world. I couldn't possibly step into
bottom
yours.
bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, 2 outs, you're down, you step up. That's what you do.
Right.
What I do is, I don't know, I hang out in front of 3 million people in my underwear for some reason. I'm cool
that's
with that.
a gift. I'm telling you, nobody can do it. Just so you know, I got no shot.
I felt like when the playoffs started in years past that it was, I think we got a chance if everything goes well.
I hope
we do well. This was different. Yeah. Even last year I was like, yeah, I hope we do well. This year it was like, hey, man, we got the best team. Now let's go out and take care of business.
Absolutely.
Did you feel that way as a fan?
I did. I carried a lot of pride about this team. the Cubs have notoriously, and I feel bad saying this, especially in front of somebody who used to play in the team, but the Cubs have notoriously kind of been bad.
Yeah, my team never did that in 04.
Yeah. So the Cubs, it was November 2nd, November 3rd. The Cubs were playing baseball. This never happened in my lifetime. My birthday, the Cubs played on my birthday and won. Never happened in my lifetime. I look at the scoreboard, and I've never not seen other games listed on the scoreboard.
Correct.
There were so many first-time things for me. And I'm only 38. I can't imagine what some of the older crowd, how they feel and everything like that. It just everything was a first time for everything this year.
All right, we've got to take a timeout. Don't forget, players will be getting on the buses shortly. We'll carry all of that for you. They'll go down Michigan Avenue for an epic parade. It'll end up right here at Hutchinson Field, and we'll be all over the coverage all day long, and we'll replay it for you later in the day. You're watching the home of the Chicago Cubs, the world champs on CSN.
The Chicago Cubs 2016 World Champion.
Right here. 2-0. Fly ball to left center. At the wall. Grand slam. 7-0 Chicago.
Addison Russell's Game 6 Grand Slam is one of our top plays of the World Series, brought to you by Great Clips. The shortstop had 6 RBI in the contest as the Northsiders took care of the try for the second straight time, forcing a decisive Game 7.
And it is almost 10 a.m. here in the city of Chicago. It is a celebratory Friday. The Cubs winning the World Series championship, coming back from a 3-1 deficit to beat the Cleveland Indians and win the World Championship, their first world title in 108 years. The players and coaches getting ready to board the buses, and what a ride that's going to be for these guys. Going down Addison, the Lakeshore Drive, when they arrive on Michigan Avenue and see hundreds of thousands of fans lining the streets, that's going to be something these players and coaches will never forget.
Absolutely. You think of all the fans, all the years lining the streets, the emotion that they're going to have. The emotion they have here just at the launching point is pretty impressive, and of course everything culminating at Grant Park. And we got a perfect day for this as well.
It is nice, yeah.
For these guys to soak up every ounce of this celebration.
Yeah, this is going to be fantastic. I know the fans have been waiting about this forever. They're at Grant Park. There's going to be over 1 million people there. They're going to be lining the streets of Michigan Avenue and the Mag Mile. I remember the White Sox victory parade down LaSalle Street. That was epic, and this is going to be, I think, even a bigger scale.
It was a sunsplash day back in 2005.
A lot colder.
A little colder, though. Much colder. Of course, we had Paulie Konerko handing the ball to the chairman. We'll wait and see. You never know. Anthony Rizzo may
got
pull.
it, yeah.
By the way, that ball, the early returns valued at $3 million. I don't know. Maybe he might want to hold on to that. With more on this one, let's send it to our Chuck Garfien out on the parade route. Chuck?
So what is your name?
Rosa.
Rosa. You waited your whole life for this.
I've waited my whole life for this. I've been a Cubs fan my whole freaking life.
Were you afraid this might not happen in your lifetime?
I was sitting at the edge of my seat watching this game. Like, I literally wanted to stop watching. I can't take this anymore. I think I'm going to get sick. I wanted to throw up, but they came through, and we're here. We've been here since 5 in the morning. Literally, my husband kicked me out of bed and said, if you want to go, you better get up and go down. I got to put my makeup on. I can't go there like this. I got to represent.
Yeah. When the final out occurred and they won, what went through your mind?
Some tears, some like unbelievable. I can't even history. I'm like in shock.
Yeah. Do you have relatives, ancestors who were Cubs fans?
Yes, and they were born and passed away and never got to see this. This is amazing. Amazing.
So you're thinking about them today too, I bet.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah.
My brother, my sister, I wish you guys were here. I love you guys. I know you're looking down.
Okay, awesome.
And this is my daughter.
Yeah. So you waited how many years for this?
15. That's not a long time.
Yeah, so where does this rank for you in your life to be here right now?
I don't know, like a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Because, like, I have pictures of me when I was little going to Cubs games, but, I mean, I've never seen the World Series.
Okay, well, I don't want to cause a problem here. Where does this rank compare to your marriage, your wedding, the day of your wedding?
My wedding was just a month ago. Okay. Literally, we had a big wedding, and I don't know, the wedding was pretty big, but, babe, I love you, but I think you'll agree with I think you'll agree. Yeah, 2016 has been an amazing year. Amazing year. And I'm a Contreras now, so I got to go for my guy Contreras.
Oh, and I mean, where do you go from here? 2017? How can 2017 top 2016 for you?
I could die now, and I'm okay. I could die.
Come back and win it again next year.
We're going to win it again.
Back to back, 2017. We'll come back.
All right, so welcome back in here to our coverage at Grant Park with CM Punk and with Todd Hollandsworth. I'm David Kaplan. So we were just talking about Schwarber and the injury that he overcame. 6 months after an LCL and ACL reconstruction. I mean, he did a lot of damage. Yeah. There he is in the World Series. You guys are elite athletes. You had to come off of a fractured skull and a knee injury. But what he did, I was blown away by what he was able to do.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. The recovery time, different doctors will tell different people different things. But, ACL standard, 9 months, and you don't want to push it. That's a delicate thing. You see athletes a lot of times come right back maybe too soon, and they re-injure themselves. So I was nervous for him, but the way he ran and the way he hit, it was pretty impressive to me.
Pretty amazing.
My hat's off to him. That's great.
Kyle Schwarber, to me, I certainly understand the knee injury. I understand missing time and going under the knife and having surgery. I get all that. I think what is impressive to me is that he experienced all that, went through the recovery, did all the rehabilitation, did everything to get himself back, got himself back on the field, and was the coolest cat out there.
Yeah.
If I could have gotten myself back to where, even there was a game left to play, you get back there, I would have been a nervous wreck.
Yeah,
he goes in there, he's relaxed, he's
grinding it back.
Well, and let me speak this in baseball terminology. He's not over swinging. He's not nervous. You don't he's not behind a fastball and showing everybody that he's behind a fastball. I would have done that. In fact, almost every other baseball player on the planet would have done that. Because there's a moment there where you're like, I don't care how many swings he took in Arizona. How do you not become overwhelmed by the moment that you first step into when you get to the postseason? And he does these things. And it's like, how do you do that? How can you be that cool under pressure? And I just hope everybody out in Chicago understands that this is a gift. What he has is more than most baseball players
blessed
have.
To be able to watch it.
Well,
right?
it's not, and this is coming from a former baseball player. What he has, most of us could not accomplish.
It didn't seem like he lost any of his timing, and he got acclimated to major league pitching. And I don't know,
But he never died. Even the strikeouts, and a couple of them. When I kept saying out loud, those aren't even bad strikeouts. It was like he would just go on to the next at bat, and he still looked like the same guy. Most of us are very reactionary to what we're doing. Say our first at bat typically leads us to what we might do in our second at bat. And if we're not seeing the ball, sometimes it can snowball a little bit. He just kind of was like, whatever, I'm going to go back out there and have another big moment.
And he had fun doing it.
He just continued to do it. You were asking me, what about the 5 days off in between? 5 days off in between. This guy can take a year off.
Some of the analysts were going, well, he only had one at bat in the 3 games in Chicago, and he really didn't get in the game. Not a problem.
Nope.
We'll be fine.
Keeper.
Right. We have got to take a timeout. We've got so much more coverage ahead. Yes, the players and staff will all be up here at Hutchinson Field, but you'll see something we haven't seen, a parade down Michigan Avenue, and we're your home for all the coverage, your home of the Cubs. You're watching CSN.
In the air to center, back at the wall, it is gone! What a start! Dexter Fowler, hello in Game 7, 1-0 Chicago.
Dexter Fowler got Game 7 of the Fall Classic off to a great start for the Northsiders. It's one of our top moments from the Fall Classic, brought to you by Lumber Liquidators. His homer got the Cubs off to that early lead. You go, we go, Dexter. We go now to Kelly Crawl with the Hall of Famer, Ryne Sandberg.
Well, here with, as you all know, because he contributes to our shows as well, Ryne Sandberg, what an afternoon. We're getting ready to load the buses. Can you imagine? We're getting ready to do this for the city of Chicago.
I've dreamt about this, tried to picture it, could not imagine it. So I'm open-minded, going to experience it to the best, but it's for the city of Chicago, for the great Cubs fans. It's an amazing day, and what a beautiful day. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better day. So it's built for a Cubs parade.
I'm going to take you back about 48 hours ago. Following Game 7 of the World Series, the Cubs just get it done. You head into that clubhouse. Describe the moment.
You know what? I was in awe of the whole thing. I really just took it in, but just saw the players, you know, their hard work and dedication and their breaking of any curses, breaking of the history of the Cubs. It's a new chapter for Cubs baseball. It's about winning. It's about World Championships. It's about parades, buses. I mean, the logos everywhere. I mean, it's beautiful to see. So this group changed that, and just to see them and be with them. And I told a few of them I loved them, the players, because I really did all year. Loved watching them play, loved following them, and it was great to, like I said earlier, it's like 3 things off my bucket list. Cubs in a World Series, Cubs win a World Series, and now a parade down Michigan Avenue. All getting done.
That's right. It doesn't get any better. Well, I know a moment that will stick out to me from the other night was watching you in the clubhouse with Anthony Rizzo coming up, this massive bear hug, and he said, "This is for you and every guy who ever put that jersey on." What does it mean to know that all these players understood it? They weren't playing just for themselves. They were playing for all of you guys.
You know, when I first met them and rejoined the organization last year after the All-Star break, I mean, they were like that. And very, very, very knowledgeable about the history of the Cubs and the Billy Williams and the Ernie Banks and Ron Santo and the Graces, Dawsons. And we've all been accepted into them so quickly and open-armed. But I remember that hug very much so because we were both soaking wet at the times. We kind of stuck together, so it was awesome. But the celebration and Anthony Rizzo, I mean, kind of the captain of the group. He had a couple of 100-loss seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows what this is all about. He knows both sides of the spectrum. So the whole group of them seem to be very respectful and really appreciate wearing a Cubs uniform, Wrigley Field, the Cubs fans, and everything that goes with it.
When you mentioned Billy Williams, and I know Ryan Dempster's running around here, what were conversations like with those guys to say, hey, these guys got it done?
Well, we're just very appreciative of it, and we're just so ecstatic. Like I say, all the Cubs players prior to this group that wore the Cubs uniform, we all dreamt of all of this that's happened in the last 2 weeks, the whole postseason ride. We dreamt of that. We wanted to be those guys. Even if we finished last place that year, that was our goal coming out of spring training. So to be a part of these guys and be welcomed into it, it's fantastic.
All right, well, last but not least, that dream, how do you hold on to it this afternoon? What pictures do you have to take? What are you soaking up the most?
I think I'm just going to take it all right into my heart and enjoy the fans and give whatever back I can. But this is for the fans today. It's their celebration of their baseball team, and like I've said earlier, I see this for years to come. So wait until next year is still a phrase for the Cubs, because wait till next year we can do this all over again.
Wouldn't that be something? Well, it's such an emotional afternoon, and it's an honor to be sharing it with you.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
Guys.
Great to see the Hall of Famer Ryne Sandberg back in the Cubs family. All part of the culture change that Tom Ricketts and the family started back in 2009 when they acquired the team. Of course, when they hired Theo in 2011, that's when this franchise took a dramatic turn, a pivot. Right now we're showing you an aerial shot of Wrigley Field. Some of the players gathering out on the field probably for another photo op before they board the buses and make their way to the parade route. Hey, this was a record ratings for Fox and for everybody connected with the Cubs after this dramatic fall classic. So much so that everybody's jumping into the party. Now, we're part of the NBC family.
Yes, we are.
Word has it that the Cubs, some of them will be on Saturday Night Live this weekend. So live from New York, could be Rizzo and company.
It beats another political sketch. They've kind of, the well's kind of dry on the Trump Hillary. Yeah, that'll be over on Tuesday. But let's hit something different. Talking about the Cubs, and it's a natural to have some of the Cubs appearing on Saturday Night Live. You were talking about the culture change, and the key really was Tom Ricketts' ability to convince Theo Epstein to leave Boston and come to Chicago and take over the Cubs franchise. And Theo has been amazing every step of the way. For us in the media, he's been a godsend. I mean, he's been so transparent in the way he laid out the plan. He says we're going to have to take a step back. We're going to have to trade away some of the veteran players, build up the farm system. They did just such a remarkable job in acquiring talent through the draft, and some of the sign and flip deals that they made, bringing Jake Arrieta and Pedro Strop in, getting Dexter Fowler in a deal, and building up that farm system to the point where they had these waves of talent coming. And now when you talk to people around baseball, Las Vegas already has the Cubs as the favorites for next season, and this is a team that should be able to achieve that sustained success that Theo talked about the very first day he was hired.
Yeah, and the rebuild wasn't just the roster. It was the Dominican facility.
Right.
It was in Mesa. It was here now at Wrigley Field. The transformation that this historic park has gone through in the last few years is nothing short of amazing. So it's been a complete overhaul of the entire franchise, from the infrastructure to the product we've seen on the field.
Yeah, you talk about what's going on around Wrigley Field. You know, there's going to be a new luxury hotel going up, and the plaza outside the ballpark, and so many great creature comforts inside the ballpark. It's just been a wonderful thing for the fan experience, and I think that people will come to enjoy this even more in the years to come. But the key is the product on the baseball field, and Theo and Jed are second to none when it comes to turning around a franchise and building a winning product. And I think Cub fans are going to enjoy these young guys growing up and getting better for many years to come.
Getting closer to the Cubs boarding the bus with the team officials and the traveling party as they'll make their way to Michigan Avenue about 11 o'clock. And of course, we'll have the rally in Grant Park at Hutchinson Field right around noon. We're going to pause right now on Celebration of the Century presented by State Farm. You're watching the Cubs World Series Parade Rally on CSN.
You've got to put something on the board right here. Here's one to left center. At the wall,
Chris Bryant's fourth inning homer in Game 5, one of our top plays from the World Series, brought to you by St. Xavier. The All-Star third baseman's blast, part of a 3-run inning for the Cubs as they went on to beat the Indians 3-2 and send the series back to Cleveland for Games 6 and 7, where the Cubs celebrated a World Series championship. Cubs players and coaches getting ready to board the buses and start on the parade route. Our Kelly Carl is standing by with more. Kelly?
All right, the buses are turned on. The players are about to start loading them. This is bus number 20, which I will be on alongside Anthony Rizzo, Dexter Fowler, and Chris Bryant. How about that for a star-studded crew, guys? We're going to be talking to all of them, along with their families, who will be soaking up this incredible afternoon. I know I just had a moment walking around Wrigley Field. I see Harry Carey's statue. The sun is beaming down on him, and I'm betting he has something to do with this beautiful afternoon here to celebrate the World Champion Chicago Cubs in a parade that is going to be unlike anything we have ever seen. I'm going to send it back to you guys, but expect some good stuff from Bus 20 here shortly.
All right, welcome back in here to Hutchinson Field at Grant Park with Todd Hollingsworth and CM Punk. I'm David Kaplan. It was really cool this morning to see them pour in the dye, the food coloring, whatever it is, into the river, to see the river turn Cub blue. That was pretty intense for me.
Isn't the river always supposed to be blue, though?
Should be.
I'll be that guy. I'll say it.
Like a healthy river.
Oh, no, we're all thinking it. I said the same thing. I said to you over breakfast,
wife,
right? Yeah. I said, shouldn't. I mean, I know it's kind of a dingy green most of the time, but I mean, can't we just keep it blue?
Right. Keep it
I
Cub
mean,
blue.
it's a Cubby blue, though.
It is.
So
It's all
there's a big
good. It's
difference.
all good.
It's really, really cool. The amazing thing during this whole run is to see, and I knew it would be big. You know, we all thought, if they ever do this, it's going to be big. It's bigger than I think I even thought. And to see how many people were moved to tears, you realize it's not just this team won that title or that. This was different. It just was.
It absolutely was. I mean, you talk about it for so long, and it's baseball. There's stats on stats on stats. You know,
it's the only sport people really care about the stats.
Yeah, but when you talk about things like they say things like, oh, the last time they won, Al Capone was 6. Or how about history being made, Dexter Fowler being the first African-American Cub to play in a World Series. You know, like they weren't
pretty moving stuff.
They weren't allowed to play the last time they won. You know, I mean, this is history. Everything is history. I don't know if I said it to you guys off air or we already said it on air, but like you know, I looked up at the scoreboard at one time and there were no games listed on the right-hand side. I've never seen that before.
Okay, so a good friend of mine is a broadcaster for the Cardinals, Mike Claiborne. You know my buddy Mike. And he texted me and he goes, I want you to do one thing for me. Besides drinking in the experience during the World Series, he said exactly what you said. He goes, I want you to look at the scoreboard and I want you to visualize during the season there's all the other games. There's no other teams left. He goes, cherish the moment because you don't know if it'll ever happen again where it's only going to say the AL team and your Cubs.
Yeah, you realize that as a player, the significance of that when you stand out there on that field when that's actually going on. I know that you're saying it, you know, from that perspective of a fan. We get it too. I mean, we get caught up in that. We get captivated. You know, I did it in the DS when there's a handful of teams left. I did it in the World Series when there's only one thing going on. It's privilege. It
Were
really
you
is.
nervous when you stepped on the field with the Marlins in 2003? You're playing the Yankees. You're at Yankee Stadium. Were you nervous?
A little bit. I mean, I think you always are. I mean, we're always nervous before every game.
Are you nervous before a match?
Yeah.
The tail end of my career, no. I think that's when I knew I needed to find something else to do. You know,
that's a good point.
I like feeling the butterflies, though.
Right.
The nerves. I think that, you know, it lets you know you're alive. Lets you know you're human.
Right.
Let me add this. You realize, you know, I came here. I've told you many times my story and like how you get to Chicago and how you become a Cub, and the desire to be, you know, the team that we're going to celebrate today up on that stage. And listening to you guys and, you know, the journey that we all have a story to tell, our Cubs journey story. You know, as a former player, I know not all the former players get to be here. I mean, I feel so privileged today to be here with you guys doing this because when I came here, I knew the significance of winning in Chicago. It's why I came here in the first place. It's why it's my home, and I get it now from the other side. Granted, I can't play anymore. This group does, and they got it done. But allow me to speak for all the former players. You know, we came here. I can guarantee you almost all of us came here with a dream of being this team. And just to be able to be here and share just a part of this is an incredible experience.
It's what's still amazing to me that every year you would go, okay, maybe this is the year. And there were times I would go to spring training when I got older where I'm working, and I'd come back and go, we suck. It's not going to happen this year.
But it's different because I think, what the Cubs have become for the players who come here, and I told you that, it's become a destination town. You know, free agency is a cool thing. Guys want to come here and play now. Not that they didn't before, but the reasons were different. The reasons were Chicago's a great town, and I want to go play in Chicago. Now it's I want to go play for the Cubs, and oh, by the way, Chicago is a great town.
Well, look at Kipnis.
And I think that's a really cool thing.
He was a Cleveland Indian. Kipnis, great player. I think him playing at Wrigley in a World Series meant more to him than a lot of the other players.
Because he sat in those stands and was a fan.
He's a Cubs fan.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I think if you said to him, look, Jason, I know you wanted to win for your city and your team, but if you had to lose to somebody, he'd probably be like, I'm glad it was the Chicago Cubs. All right, Chuck Garfien has caught up with some fans. He's outside Wrigley. All right, Chuck?
All right, I'm here with Jeanette. Jeanette, you have waited your life for this.
52 years. Born and raised here. Watched all the games.
When things were rough a few years ago, were you thinking, boy, will this day ever happen?
No, I never had a doubt, ever in my life. Mm-hmm. Not even this year I had a doubt. Nope.
What made this team so special?
It's Chicago, but I think the Ricketts really helped. Madden. And what a team we have.
Yeah.
What a city we have. We have a great city. We have the best.
When you were watching the games in the playoffs, did you have any superstitions?
No. We actually did pray. We were all on the ground praying, but we couldn't believe it because we don't normally pray for that, but
you were praying during the game, or you were praying
during the game
to the television?
Oh yes. We were all around on the ottoman. We were on our hands and knees.
And what were you saying?
Oh Lord, please. Sorry, we don't normally pray for this. Please forgive us. But please let it happen.
And when it did, what went through your mind?
I ran out of the house, tried to cross Clark Street and couldn't until 3 in the morning. But my name's on the wall.
Your name's over there?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
And so is my father's and my brother's and
Oh.
everybody that's not here right now.
What does that mean? Yeah.
It means the world. It means the world to be able to be here.
What would you say to your father right now?
Dad, we did it. We did it, Dad. Cubbies all the way. North side, #1.
Okay, and then when they come through here, when the players come through here, what's going to be going through your mind at that point?
I do not have a DNR. So please revive me because I want to be here next year for it too.
Okay.
Okay, please.
Well, you got one. One's good enough right now.
I'm satisfied, but like you said, when they come and if something happens, no DNR, just resuscitate me. Okay?
This was something I was not expecting to hear from a fan here today.
I'm a caregiver, so I'm thinking of DNRs.
Okay.
Thanks, our Chuck with Mark Shanowski. I'm Pat Boyle outside Wrigley Field. The players and the team officials, the traveling party special guests beginning to make their way to the buses here at Wrigley Field. They will begin to commence down Addison shortly and begin the parade.
So it's a slow process,
yes,
isn't it?
It's a slow, they tell us they're going to board at 10. I think their real launch time was around 10:30.
We've been through this with the Blackhawks. No
Yes, we
question
have.
about it.
Which you bring that up. So always at the rally, there's always an interesting moment. We've seen Corey Crawford. We had to have the bleep button ready for him. Kaner's had some fun up there as well. So what will we get from this Cubs group? Will we get another lackey? I didn't come here for the haircut.
That's the one guy I'm looking forward to hearing at the rally because he's going to probably have consumed a couple of beverages and be ready to roll. You never know what he's going to say. It'll be unfiltered. It'll be from the heart, and it'll be interesting.
And as always, too, this is time, too, that we'll see players and we won't see them again in a Cubs uniform. That's the unfortunate part of the sports business that we're a part of. But it's like, you look at Dexter Fowler. We didn't think he was going to be a part of this team at the beginning of the season. Probably the surprise move of the entire campaign when he showed up at Mesa. They thought he had agreed to a deal with the Baltimore Orioles, and lo and behold, he walks up and surprises the entire team. Joe always says, you go, we go. I can't imagine this team would be in this position if Dexter Fowler had not returned.
Well, it just shows how the front office with Theo Epstein and Jed Hoyer operates. Of course, during the offseason, they spent about $185 million to bring Jason Hayward in. They brought Ben Zobrist in to play second base, and basically Theo told everybody, I'm tapped out. I don't have any more money. But Dexter Fowler looked at a couple situations in the offseason. There were reports he was close to signing a 3-year contract with the Baltimore Orioles, but I think in his heart, he wanted to finish what he started last year with the Cubs. He knew they were close to winning a world championship, and when he didn't really like the deals that were being offered to him, he got a hold of Theo and Jed and said, you know what, if we can come up with a 1-year deal with an option for a second year, I'll come back. And Theo and Jed, in this day of social media, were able to keep that a secret from everybody and brought him into spring training and said, surprise, here he is. And he was a catalyst in that leadoff position throughout the year. And as you mentioned, the business of baseball goes on. Dexter Fowler already has said that he's not going to accept his player option for next year. He's going to test free agency again. You hope they can bring him back, but they might not be able to with their salary constraints.
And probably we will not see Aroldis Chapman return. Obviously, the big acquisition at the trade deadline, integral part, of course, of this World Championship. But the bright side too, when you win a World Championship and the culture is changed, and people want to be a part of it. So you'll see veterans around Major League Baseball take a pay cut to come to the North Side to be a part of something special. They see the young talent that this team has, and there's a David Ross, well, maybe not a David Ross out there, but there's somebody of that ilk who's got that veteran savvy, who's been through some wars before, and that wants to giddy up, get on for the ride, and try to win a ring. And you'll see them possibly come to the North Side and take less money to do it.
Well, we see it in the beats that we cover regularly in the NBA and NHL. Of course, they have salary caps they're operating under, but guys will take a lot less money than their market value for a chance to win a championship. We saw it with the Miami Heat. We're seeing it with the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers in the NBA. We've seen it with the Blackhawks. Guys taking less money for a chance to have the coveted brass ring. And now the Cubs are in a position where maybe they can add on to this mix right now. And they have such a rich farm system that really they don't have to worry about high-priced acquisitions anymore. It's just a question of adding to their depth, adding to their pitching inventory, and I'm sure Theo and Jed will be on the lookout for whatever they can get to help them out for next season.
We're on the lookout for the buses to depart from here at Wrigley Field. We're going to step aside one last time so we can show you the parade in its entirety uninterrupted. You're watching the Celebration of the Century presented by State Farm live on CSN.
We're going to set our mark high, absolutely. And I'm going to talk playoffs, I'm going to talk World Series this year, I promise you. And I'm going to believe it. And I'm going to see how this is all going to play out.
Going in with the intention of winning, and that means the division, that means the World Series, means everything. You can call it arrogant, you can call it cocky, whatever you want, but I like to win.
Anytime you have enough talent to compete, you want to set your sights high.
We're trying to win a World Series. I didn't come here for a haircut. I came here for jewelry.
The Chicago Cubs, 2016 World Champions.
Zobrist stands and base hit. Cubs will take the lead. Almora dig into the plate. Zobrist delivers 7-6 in the 10th.
Ben Zobrist's 10th inning double is one of our top plays from the World Series, brought to you by Fields Auto. How clutch was the veteran throughout the postseason. His big hit broke a 6-all tie, bringing home Albert Almora with the go-ahead run. Cubs go on to win the World Series 8-7. Let's get you back out to Grant Park. Cap and Holly joined by another celebrity guest. Guys?
All right, thank you, Mark. That's right, Cap and Holly here with CM Punk and John Cusack on the set with us now. You're around this run a lot. What was your take on what you saw in Cleveland?
Well, it was like a whole season in a game, and in a way, it was like a whole 100 years in a game. You had guys, who made some errors, then came back and redeemed them. It was just I don't know. By the end, when the rain started, I thought this is become like Moby Dick or something. It's become some great novel. I think it was. For me, the 85 Bears, and of course, maybe Michael's first championship, but this transcended a baseball game. Right. This was one of the great sporting events. I mean, I think it was like Rumble in the Jungle. It was a top 5 sporting events of all time. Now, I don't know if that's just because I'm such a fan.
No, it was an emotional roller coaster for all of us.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, was it? Did you think it was going to be any easier than that? I mean, 108 years of losing leads you to this moment. You had to believe that there was probably going to be some difficulties, right?
Oh, of course, but I don't think anybody suspected that it would be that dramatic. I thought it was going to be dramatic one way or the other, but it was beautiful.
CM, you grew up here.
Yep.
Was this the biggest thing you've seen? For me, it is.
It still hasn't sunk in. I kind of was fortunate to be able to go to Cleveland. I wasn't sure if I was going to go, though. I didn't go to games 1 and 2 because I was crossing my fingers that the Cubs were going to be able to do it, at home, and I had no predestined plans to go. And then I was at Game 5. I bought these socks. I put them on in my seat. And they won Game 5, and then I was
never
like,
wash those socks again.
I can't.
Ever.
I can't. They haven't been washed yet.
After they won Game 6 in Cleveland, I was like, well, I got to wear the same shirt. So I was wearing the exact same outfit. I mean, we were totally out of our minds there, everybody in Cleveland.
Okay, so I run into Bill Murray at the team hotel, and he said, I got to check out of this place. He said, they doubled my rate, $1,600 for a room at the Westin. He's like, it's ridiculous.
I think Bill can cover that.
Yeah, and I said, you can't afford that? And he said, that's not the point. $800 to $1,600 in one night. And then he looked at his room key, and he goes, look what room I'm staying in, 2016. He's like, okay, that's too bizarre. I'll pay the $1,600. It was pretty funny stuff.
You talked about your journey, from as a child getting on the train going to Cubs games. I mean,
you lived in Evanston.
Yeah, I would go to Evanston, get on the Howard train, switch to the B, get off at Irving Park, and I could go to the Cubs games with maybe $3-4 in my pocket, 50 cents there, $1.50 for the bleachers, hot dog and a Coke, and then I'd hop the train on the way back. Duck walk under the turnstiles with all the mobs. So I did that 40 times a year. We were either playing Sandlot baseball or going to the Cubs game if we had mowed enough lawns to have the money, right?
You get to the Game 7 moment where it happens for you. I mean, does it all kind of just flood back? I mean, I think that I'm getting this vibe from so many of you who were born here in Chicago, raised here in Chicago, that, Game 7 takes you back to your childhood. It takes you back to ducking under the turnstiles, to
Absolutely.
Getting on the train and
Absolutely.
watching this team, hoping this team will eventually win.
And not only that, every time you step into the Cathedral, Wrigley Field, every time you walk into that park, every moment you remember is about the promise of what happened on Game 7.
Right.
When I went there with my father, he started taking me there at 4 years old. Anytime we'd go there, you walk in there and you think, you know what? One day we're going to be the world champions, and they're going to get over that hump. And now we had it not only in the pennant, where I got to hear someone say, the Cubs win the pennant, the Cubs are going to the World Series. We get a road win, a home win, and then they finally do it. And all that energy in Game 7, every time you walk into that park, that's in your mind.
Right.
And it was in your father's minds. And it was in all your friends' minds. And every time we see, there's this amazing tradition in Chicago that you get to interact with the players, and you might see it out at a bar at Stanley's or wherever else, and everybody's like giving each other bear hugs because they know one day the Cubs are going to do it, and it was the holy grail of sports, as everyone knows.
There's no more macho guy around here than you.
I'm not macho.
Okay.
This guy maybe, I don't know.
Ultimate fighter, he was a pro wrestler, big tough guy, and yet I asked you earlier, did you cry? Because I know I did, and then Sarah Lauke at Comcast Sports had put together this amazing Eddie Vedder video and put all the highlights of the season. And I'm looking at it, and I'm just like melting. It's unbelievable, all the memories that come flooding back to you.
Yeah. The sights, the sounds, the smells, like everything. You play it for me right now, I'll cry in front of you guys, in front of 4 million of our friends. It's just the way it is. I've waited my entire life for this. John has. You think about. I think about Harry Carey. There's that Harry Carey spot that got me.
Oh, my God.
Did you see that? It's like he's not here to see it. Ron Santo's not here to see it. Ernie Banks isn't here to see it. And you take all that, and then you realize that there's everybody here, literally everybody here has an uncle or a dad or a grandpa or a mom or a sister, an aunt, a cousin, somebody they know that was as big a Cubs fan as they are that isn't here. They're not here with us to see it. And you can't help but get emotional when you look at those video packages and you hear Eddie Vedder. It's one of the most gorgeous songs ever written. Eddie did an amazing job with that song, and it captured, I think, the spirit of a Cubs fan and the spirit of the city. I listen to that. I could listen to that song. I'll go on a 6-mile run.
It's my ringtone.
Mile 5, it comes on. I'll start bawling in the street.
Oh, he's going to have to write a follow-up, though.
Someday we'll go all the way, he said.
Someday we went all the way.
But I was thinking, too, the not only Harry, but, Ron Santo, Billy Williams, Fergie Jenkins, all these players throughout the years. At one point I was at the stadium, and I was with Bobby Dernier and Kerry Wood, part of the 85 team, part of the guys who couldn't get all the way. But all of them played with such tremendous heart. And, I remember even when Kerry had hurt his shoulder, and the amount of effort and will the guy took just to get able to pitch again, right? And how much the fans loved this guy. The Cubs players, Jose Cardinal, when I was growing up, they'd be playing the Reds. And it was like a AAA team against the Big Red Machine somehow. But, Jose was grinding out at bats. And
he was tough.
There's the players in the city have a relationship. I don't think it's like, maybe in Boston, I guess it's like that. But
maybe. Not many places.
Not many places.
Let me ask you, both you guys. I mean, we've watched this team now for the last 2 years. As we talked about, 200 wins during the regular season, 97 last year, 103 this year. I know that you've been fans your entire lives, but when did you say Theo and Jed have done it? This team is good enough to get it done.
I got my answer. You got yours?
I would just say, like the moment they signed on, it really felt like the first time management
had a plan.
Yeah.
Felt like there was a direction.
I'm not going to say that other managers or other owners or other GMs or whatever weren't on board, but to me it was very much because it was very, very hard being a Blackhawks fan in Chicago for a very long time, and then all of a sudden a switch got thrown, And when the management was on board and they said, this is what we're going to do, we're going to spend the money to get the free agent players and the big names here. And, I used to go to Blackhawks games. There'd be 3,000 people there. Once they were all on board, and it was just like Theo, and he did it in Boston, and he got Jed, and Joe Maddon's on board, and they said, this is our plan. And Tom Ricketts said, this is what we're doing. If you want to jump off now, we understand, but this is it's not going to happen this year, but it's going to eventually happen. And that was in 2011. We're Cubs fans. It gave us hope, and all we need is a little bit of hope.
For me, it was I was out with Jason McLeod, and they were being very kind and talking baseball and all that. And this was before Kyle Schwarber had come up.
Right.
And he said, the best hitter we have in the whole organization is, who do you think it is? And I said, and I went through a list of these unbelievable talents.
Rizzo, Bryant.
I went through the list, right? And he just looked at me dead in the eye and said, Kyle Schwarber. And for a minute I thought, okay, so this is...
Who?
Well, yeah, I thought this is like, we live in a world of hype and we live in a world of kind of flavor and all that. But he was dead serious. And then he came up and we saw what Kyle did last year. And then we saw what he did this year, which I don't think will ever be repeated in history. George Foreman heavyweight championship, Kyle coming back and getting his first hits in the World Series.
Amazing.
First hits.
Yeah.
First non-pitcher to ever do that.
First hits ever.
Yeah.
And when I saw how good these guys were at their job, Jason, Jed, Theo,
right.
And they would, and they're guys who are straight up. They'll tell you what they're going to do. We're going to be bad for a while. We're going to draft. We're going to do, and then they do what they say they're going to do.
Yeah, they're transparent.
And then when I saw when Jason told that to me, I thought, this guy's just trying to put a spin on a good pick, but he wasn't.
Right.
He was that good.
Yeah.
That's when I knew these guys are going to.
Yeah, I loved yesterday seeing Theo. He had a bear head on, like a bear head, and he's drinking through the bear head and spraying people with champagne. I'm like, that guy gets it, man. He knows when it's time to party and when it's time to work, but he's not one of those executives who's untouchable. He's a man of the people.
Yeah, and that's a great point because the players need to see that as well. And I think, this is all a very circular conversation because the players feed off guys like you and the fans. And, I mean, you know how this all works. But when we constantly look up. So we look up to our manager, we look up to our general manager. We say, okay, how are we supposed to act or how are we supposed to react? How do you want us to be defined as an organization? And Theo and Jed have set the tone with this group. There is an accountability. Listen, we're all about having fun, but there's a responsibility that goes along with it. And the players get it, and they respect it, and they understand it, and they're comfortable. And he communicates, and that's the one thing that I think is absolutely amazing. I played 12 years for 8 teams, 8 organizations. And I still, to this day, I mean, the communication that goes on in this organization didn't exist in my 12 years or the 7 other organizations I played for at this level. The ability to think that Kyle Schwarber, I could imagine thinking that, but he picked up the phone and called Theo and said, Theo, I just got back from the doctor. I need to go to Arizona. I wouldn't even thought about doing that. I mean, I would have called my agent. I would have called somebody else. I would have maybe tried to do it some other way, but he picks up the phone and he's like, I'm going to call the man in charge, my boss. Hey, Theo, I'm good to go. Time to go down to Arizona and get my knee right. He's like, wait, what? But even that happens is an amazing.
They had no idea he was going to be available.
Had no idea that was even a possibility, but the fact that there's that kind of relationship and communication all the way through the organization is an incredible thing.
And also these guys also, letting these young players develop and not, stamping down the great parts of them, but, letting them be who they are. Right. Joe said to me one night, he said, this Javi Baez, I said, Javi's a showman, isn't he? He goes, yep, but I just want him to learn to make the routine play routinely, but I don't want to take out any of that star quality he has, that swagger. So each person is
it's like the way he lets them dress. Well, you think you look hot, wear it.
Each person's different.
But that's Game 7. I mean, what'd you think of Javi, right? So he goes to, and you and I said, this is why you want to hug him as hard as you can.
Those 2 plays killed me.
Grab him and shake him, and he goes to the bare hand.
Yeah.
Goes to the bare hand and misses it, right? He makes the 2 errors, and we're like, we're just right. And then he comes up, totally redeems himself. It's a home run to right center field. I mean, amazing stuff.
We've got to go to Kelly Kroll. She's on one of the buses. The players are loading up, and the parade about to begin.
All right, guys, here we are on top of Bus 20 now, still in the Wrigleyville area. We haven't left yet, which, of course, some of the players are wondering what's going on. Maybe we're already stuck in traffic, right? But on the bus here, Anthony Rizzo and his family. Take a look. We've got Dexter Fowler along with his daughter Naya and Aaliyah there, his family. Jason Hayward on the bus. And Chris Bryant sporting off some serious hardware around the waist right now. We'll have that story for you. Behind us, Bus 21, that's David Ross. Oh, and Travis Wood. What do you think of that outfit, guys? Sporting his inner J.R. Smith. Who knows, maybe. John Lester also on that bus, and I just heard a moment ago Anthony yelling back, hey, John, this is my first parade. What about you? Not so much, right? Johnny Lester, though, going to see something this afternoon that maybe he didn't see in Boston, but this is going to be one entertaining bus ride, and we'll have lots of interviews coming up. We're going to wait just a minute because a lot of them would like to see the types of crowds they have and get in the moment so they can really talk about it. Here's Dexter. You want to say hi, Dex?
Nope.
There we go. Later we'll get more from him.
I'm just kidding.
Hey, we haven't taken off yet, but what do you anticipate this afternoon?
A lot of people, a lot of crying faces and a lot of happy faces. I think it'd be tears of joy, so we'll be happy.
All right, Tex, we'll catch up with you later. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, guys, we're going to send it back to you for now, but there's just a small taste of what's getting ready to happen this afternoon.
All right, thank you very much, Kelly. We'll get you back out there as those buses are beginning to roll in Wrigleyville, and it will be something that I've never seen, none of us have ever seen here, and there'll be buses going down a parade on Michigan Avenue, and then they'll end up right here at Hutchinson Field at Grant Park. You know, we had 3 catchers on the roster most of the year, and everyone went, what kind of team has 3 catchers? I believe all 3 got an RBI in Game 7.
Yeah. I think they had 14 RBIs. In the entire playoffs, yeah.
Montero had 2 hits, a grand slam, and the eventual difference maker
and the
in Game 7.
game-winning single.
Yeah.
Right?
It's unbelievable.
At the beginning of the year, you never would have predicted who was going to be on the mound and who was going to be behind the plate.
If I told you Mike Montgomery would get the first career save in Game 7, you'd be like, who?
Yeah.
You guys have a favorite moment from this season? A moment where you probably said to yourself, okay, I knew this team was going to be good, but now I'm really buying what I'm seeing. Do you have a moment? Is there something this year?
Well, I'm trying to think because like the last 2 games were like an entire year for me, so I can't even remember June and July. But I think I'm just thinking back when Kyle had those first 2 knocks in the World Series.
Sure.
I thought we'll never see this again.
Right.
But let's see, this year there's too many to pick.
Right, sure,
yeah,
sure,
there really are. And how fortunate are we to be able to say that? I remember hearing about Wilson Contreras,
Yep,
and they drafted all these young players, and everybody in Iowa is amazing. And just like you said, Schwarber is this special player. His first at-bat, his first pitch, what does he do? He knocks it out of the park. Like that's a moment to me that kind of encapsulates the whole year.
Wasn't that Father's Day?
It's magic. It's been magic. And you hear guys like Rizzo say that, rubbing the helmet, and everything's magic. Even Chapman going up there and getting crucial outs, and then everybody's kind of criticizing, like, I don't know, his arm might be jello by now, and then that 2-run homer the Indians hit to tie it up, and you're sitting in your seat and you got your head in your hands and you're like, man, not again. We're this close. And to me, the season would have been a success regardless. If they lost that game, Game 7, to me it would have been a success. I
was the other end. You pushed all your chips in. You spent all this money. You went and got Chapman. Your goal was you had to win it, and they were able to achieve it.
That's the goal for sure. But when you see it get tied up like that in the 8th, and you're just like, oh my God, we were that close. And you've been a Cubs fan your entire life, and it's been pretty miserable sometimes. To see that, and you can say, okay, yeah, I could see it all slipping away. But you know what? I got a mug that says World Series. I got a souvenir cup that says World Series. I got socks. I got a T-shirt. I got a hoodie. I got a hat. I got a winter hat. I had like all this stuff.
Right.
So in my mind, I'm doing the math. Like, God, still a success. It's still going to be okay. And then they went ahead and they we got the rain delay. They put the tarp on, and the players basically said, "Nah, you know what?
We got
with
this.
that. To hell with that. We're going to do it. We're going to go all the way."
What were you thinking?
I was going to say probably when Joe did one of. I mean, we got the manager who's like part Joe. Part the Bulls manager, Phil Jackson, and part Brett Favre. You know, he's a gunslinger and he's got this whole Zen thing. But like when he does Travis Wood in the double switch, Travis makes that catch and hits a home run.
Yeah,
that was like the Cubs. That was one of those moments for me when I thought
that was a great moment.
These guys are gamers.
The bizarre.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. You never.
But they're
you wouldn't be able
baseball
to write
players.
it. You wouldn't be able to write a story like that.
Yeah, Javi Baez home run on Mother's Day to beat the Nationals in the pink. Yeah, there's just so many cool moments.
Yeah.
Watch what Kyle. We thought, hey, start of the year, Kyle Hendricks would be a good number 5. He ends up leading Major League Baseball in ERA.
I felt like I lobbied over at MLB Network for months. I mean, everybody's, even here in Chicago, people were, what about David Price? Wouldn't it be great if we, added David Price to this and like Kyle Hendricks, most people understand, like you, for as many guys you go out and get, you're knocking your rotation down. So Kyle's pegged as your number 5 starter. Here he is missing starts in April because you skip over your 5th starter because you have a lot more off days. And think about it. From where we were at the beginning of the year to skipping those starts.
He's starting Game 7.
He's starting Game 7. He's knocking down Cy Young Award winners, and he's a Cy Young candidate.
And how about this? He just did the thing that no one had been able to do, which is win the pennant, right? And then he's only given up 2, 3, 4 hits.
And beat Kershaw.
You could have honestly said if Madden left him in till the 8th inning, unless he gives up a few knocks, you could have said, yeah.
This all
started. He's
as,
that good.
This all started as he was our number 5. It was supposed to go Arrieta, Lester, Lackey. It's like Hamill, and is it supposed to be this way? And here he is pitching the pivotal games. One of the youngest guys in your rotation, and he doesn't throw as hard as the other 4, and he's your guy, and he wins the ERA title,
and might win the Cy Young. He'll be in the top 5.
And then how about this? I mean, you would know who would be more responsible for it, the whole team. But a guy sitting next to me in the fan said when Hendricks picks him off right in the 2nd inning, he goes, "That's the difference right there.
Huge.
That's the game." I mean, what about that pickoff?
Picked off Jose Ramirez, and they showed Jose Ramirez, and he's in the dugout
and then Hendricks get hit too.
That's a second pickoff in the World Series.
In the World Series,
he picked off Lindor as well. Right.
That's what makes this team so fun for me to watch, is because it feels like for the first time in my life they're playing baseball. They're picking guys off. They're stealing bases. Right. They're
10
making.
For 10, I
they're
believe.
bunting.
It was always the other team doing that to us.
Right. Who laid down that bunt that that it was a routine play and the third baseman couldn't get it done?
John Lester. Remember when John Lester put a bunt with 2 strikes in that game?
They do silly things like that you're not supposed to do. That if you're playing pickup baseball with your friends, you would try. As a lark, you're like, I'm gonna.
We did the things that I always watched the Cardinals or somebody else do to us.
Like when Kyle Schwarber in the World Series, right? He's got a bad knee, steals a base.
Yeah.
Just standing up. I knew this was going to be. I said, all right, whatever you thought. I thought whatever you thought this game is, this is going to be a wild one. Hold on to your seats, man.
It's unbelievable.
Well, and just so that I think when we're talking about this incredible journey that we've really witnessed, and let's admit it to ourselves, it was more than just 2016. To get here, we go back to 2015 when these young kids started to get called up. But I go back to Joe Madden being hired. Now, it's a little untraditionally. I mean, we all know who Joe Madden is, but remember, we had a manager in place, and the circumstances led Joe, and they were able to acquire him and bring him in. That brand of baseball that you guys just described, I'm not sure he gets that over on a veteran group. You're talking, if you hand him a team filled with 6- and 7-year Major League veterans, asking Chris Bryant to play multiple positions. I mean, he did that to Ben Zobrist earlier in his career in Tampa Bay, but understanding – players become rather grounded, identified with who they are, where they hit in the lineup, and what they want to do. To ask players to do extremely different things in a game
every day
is not easy to accomplish. Your players have to buy in to what your manager sells. And I think that the timing was imperative to not only when they brought Joe Madden in, but to getting the young players, the Baez's, the Bryants, obviously Anthony Rizzo was there, but all these young players, Contreras, all together at the same time, moving in the same direction, but believing what Joe was selling.
But remember, too, if the genius of that to me is that if Joe puts Travis Wood in the outfield or he starts moving guys around who aren't Ben Zobrist, who haven't done this their whole lives, all the pressure's on Madden. He's saying, go out, play baseball. It's like nobody's going to blame you. I'll take the pressure.
By the way, the buses are pulling out. You're seeing the buses as they are moving down. They'll end up on Lakeshore Drive, then get off at Inner Michigan and take it up Michigan Avenue. So it'll be cool. For me, the crystallizing moment of when I said, game on, we're back, was the day they signed John Lester. Because you could draft because you stink, and you could get these guys. When that guy who could go anywhere said, Giants, nah, Red Sox, nah, I'm going to the Cubs. I went, okay, game on.
I also thought when Dexter returned, and
on a one-year deal.
On a one-year deal.
Great call.
And it was just because that was the team, and he made that decision either to roll the dice or just because he really
took
wanted
less
to
money.
Be here. Yeah.
That was my moment.
That was the moment for me when I thought we're going to be in the
That's
NLCS.
when I believed, and you're right about John Lester. I mean, I was there. I was at the winter meetings when John Lester signed, and I knew that this team was starting to become a destination for free agents, and that's a good feeling. Trust me, when the best guys want to come to your town, you start to get excited. But when Dexter walked away from, at the time, a 3-year deal from the Baltimore Orioles to come back, and I actually went back last night and looked at the terms of his deal, and I know that only because he's opting to become a free agent now, but whatever, we're going to celebrate today. That Dexter came back and walked into spring training the way that he did. Hey guys, I'm back. In the middle of spring training, I thought, this is it, man. This team, this is going to be the group. They're going to figure it out. They're going to get it done. I really believed it when Dexter came back.
What do you remember? This is kind of unrelated, but we're naming all these players, and I stressed this before you got here. Is how what I love about the team is how everybody contributed. Everybody. Just that game 6 and 7, just like you said, felt like a year. It's a microcosm for the entire season about how everybody was given a chance to step up and shine, and they produced. I want to talk about John Lackey because I think what he did in Dodger Stadium in LA, I think it was game 4. I think we were down 2-1. Everybody's already saying, that's it. They're gonna put Kershaw back on the mound, and that's it. But Lackey went out there and fired up that team because he's so emotional. I just remember him. I can't say it here on CSN, but he's on the mound. Somebody didn't make a routine play to Rizzo, and he started yelling and screaming, and I think that's the kick in the pants that they needed, and I think that got them through.
All right, we've got to go back to Mark and Pat. They are at Wrigley. The buses are rolling.
Thanks, Cap. We're at the corner of Clark and Addison, the launching point here for the parade. Theo and Jed just went by on their double-decker. Theo clutching the World Series trophy. Everybody stopped singing Go Cubs Go for a minute to chant Theo, Theo, Theo. Quite the scene here.
I'll tell you, it was a long time to wait, but the fans are getting rewarded right now. A few thousand people out here at the corner of Clark and Addison. The open-air buses, the double-deckers going by. Everybody's got their cell phones out, taking pictures and video. This has been so long in the making, and Cub fans are soaking it all in. What a great experience. Glad it finally got underway. We got a beautiful weather, and everyone is just enjoying their Cubs winning a World Series championship.
And by the way, there will be no renovating done to Wrigley Field today. All the workers have their hard hats on. They are perched in locations all around the corner of Clark and Addison, watching the throng of buses take off here and make their way down Addison. Hey, Cap, a couple months ago, you and I were doing the radio. It was Columbus Day. The parade was going by the State Street Studios. You said to me, I'm not a parade guy. And I said to you, you will be one day. You are on this day, my friend. There's about 500 deep here at the corner of Clark and Addison. What do you think the amount of beverages like beer consumption in Wrigleyville the last 4 days?
The last bus that went by had Lester and Ross on it, and I'm sure those guys are celebrating like crazy. Those guys have been together through the Boston years, now here in Chicago, and for Ross to go out with this kind of celebration, unbelievable.
Let's send it back to you guys at Grant Park. Enjoy it, guys. It's going to be one heck of a day for the city of Chicago. We waited 108 years for this. We had to go to 10 innings of Game 7. What's 45, 50 minutes late to start a parade? No big deal, right?
It's huge.
Best night of my life. All right, thanks, guys. So Again, running a little behind, but who cares? It took 108 years to win a championship, 45, 50 minutes.
A little behind.
What the heck?
You got a minute?
Yeah.
The whole thing's a
Look
little
at the day.
behind.
Where are we going here? Where are we going?
Exactly.
We're not going anywhere else.
Boy, I'm looking out at this scene here, and it's just CM and I were here for the Blackhawks. We were actually down at Soldier Field, but we saw the scene as it came through. I mean, this is just unbelievable. And then you add in everything at Wrigley, everything on Michigan Avenue, and the estimates are 3 million or more.
How many people do you think called in sick?
That is a pretty good one.
This is the city
Or
that
just
works,
didn't
but
show.
maybe today.
The city that works, not today.
But you know what? They don't need to call in sick because their bosses are here too.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That's the funny thing.
Well, isn't that what Mindy said? She was telling me that they had gotten all these new orders, right? Because I said, "You guys are going to be busy today." But
Right. My wife works for she's the marketing director, Lou Malnati.
Lou Malnati.
I know. I've seen that on your show.
And she was saying that they were getting all these new orders, but then she said, "But the thing about it is we got a bunch of dropped orders." And I said, "Wait a minute,
Who cancels? And they said, "Yeah, our office
nobody's
is closing."
going to work." Right, we're closing our offices. Nobody's here, so we've got to drop these orders. I said, "Well, that explains it, right?"
It's unbelievable, really, to look around and what a day we got. This is November, the 4th?
Yeah.
This is insanity.
Yeah.
I was.
How about the weather in Cleveland the last few days?
And listen, my wife would not have been with me if it was cold.
Okay, we were there
if
games
it's too
1 and 2.
cold at a ball game, she's out.
You weren't there 1 and 2. Were you there 1 and 2?
In Cleveland,
Yeah.
I was there for 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
I saw you at 2.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
It was 41 degrees. The rain is coming down, and we're frozen.
Game
But that,
5
I
in
was
Wrigley was pretty cold.
I was
It was.
happy about that because I thought, the Cubs were raking.
Our guys hit.
And then our guys hitting, and then it starts to rain a little bit, and they got to face Chapman, in the rain and in the cold. So I wanted to get colder. I wanted to snow.
And then we get back there at 75 degrees. It's like spring.
hot.
It was awesome.
I was hot.
Absolutely
We needed
awesome.
air conditioning.
It was. It was a lot of fun.
I just think about all these guys. We were down there, and you just seeing the bench coaches and the hitting coaches. When you see grown men who are crying, it's not because of their bonus. It's not because of their bonuses.
No.
And it's not because they're going to be the winners. They're going to get a next contract. They know what this means to the city. They cared so much. It was such a beautiful thing. So poetic.
It's pretty amazing.
It is. And I got to bust your balls right now, John.
Hit me.
You know what this is going to be about, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
I got the answer for it.
You might not know the question.
I'm assuming
2005.
Yeah.
I think he knows where you're going.
I know where he's going.
2005 on October 26th, and the only reason I remember the date is because it was my birthday.
Happy birthday.
I was so miserable.
Happy birthday.
The Sox.
just have a birthday.
The
Happy
Sox
birthday.
win on my birthday, and I got a lot of friends who were busting my balls. The Sox won. They're Sox fans. I'm a Cubs guy my entire life. And I could never bring myself to root for the Sox, but I would never want to see them lose. I'm not a hater. They were there, so obviously
You felt like you were looking at a party you weren't invited to.
Yeah. But the thing is, since I'm not the Sox fan, in 2005 I was living in Louisville, Kentucky, so I was removed from all this, and I don't know what they did, but I wanted to ask, how does it compare?
Oh, I thought you had an issue with me. So
no, I have no issue with you. I have no issue with you.
Because I do get a lot of grief, but when I grew up, I was watching Harry Carey and Jimmy Pearsall on Channel 44, and I was watching the Cubs on WGN.
And they were hilarious.
They were hilarious. The disco demolition thing. And so I looked at the box scores for both teams, and when both Chicago teams won, I was double happy. Now it was Cubs first, but then I made a White Sox movie, 8 Men Out, and I wore the colors, and I just felt, hey, I'm for both teams. Now, I understand people don't like that in Chicago,
right?
But I love it when both teams win.
See, that's interesting to me because
and I get tons of grief for it.
I was born in Evergreen Park, Christ Hospital, so I'm born on the South Side. But because my dad was a Cubs fan, I was a Cubs fan, and I didn't know until maybe I got like 10, 12 or whatever. Oh yeah, I guess it's strange. I was born and raised on the South Side.
Yeah, what do you do at cheer for the Cubs?
Yeah, and it's very much like that. And I don't know, there's a lot of cities out there that don't have the two teams, but here, you got the Crosstown Classic and every year, and it always seems like you have to pick a side.
But that's the only game of the year where if the Cubs lose, I think for some reason it doesn't sting as much because I was like, they lost to a Chicago team at least. But I don't know, Bill Veeck and that whole stadium and
he put the Ivy up.
he put the IV up, and he had the exploding scoreboards in the showers. I just thought it was a great Chicago. It's a part of Chicago, and I'm just happy when Chicago teams win.
Yeah, my brother's a diehard Sox fan, and I was Cubs, and
I get hammered for daring to like the Sox, even though I'm a Cubs fan.
when the Sox won in 2005, I got destroyed by Sox
fans. Yeah, it bums you out because it's the lowest hanging fruit. The Cubs have never won. The GOAT, this, that, and you're just like, oh,
right.
man.
And then I'd go, really, we'll be over to fill your stadium for you in June again. And that would be my response. But they won. They had a World Series.
Yeah.
And now, finally, because I've always been the guy that said, if the Cubs were going to go to the World Series, super cool. But if they lost the World Series to the White Sox, I couldn't handle that.
Oh, no, forget
I'd rather not go.
But that would be the biggest champagne problem the city's ever had.
So that's kind of my question. I want to know, this wasn't that big of a deal in 2005 for the Sox, right? Was it?
Oh, I remember the city went up.
Did they?
Didn't you? I mean,
I think so.
I think the
Yeah,
city.
like
really
I said,
Ozzie Guillen was our manager.
Ozzie was so popular.
Right.
So
yeah,
popular.
I don't think it will be what we're going to witness today. I mean,
No.
I think that's fair. I mean, let me be the guy, the eyes from, maybe outside, so to speak. But
there were a couple million. I mean, people did get behind it.
Absolutely. But, I mean, that's the way,
And Paulie Konerko was here for so long.
I was raised a Dodger. Yeah, I mean, Paulie Konerko and I, he's a friend of mine. I mean, we came up to the Dodgers together. I knew him when he was 18 years old. I mean, you see it that way. When I came here to Chicago, the Cubs are huge. The White Sox are big. Does that make sense?
All right.
Yep.
Luke and Layla are above Michigan Avenue as the parade is rocking and rolling.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we are. That's right, Cap. Thank you very much. And Luke, we have a pretty good vantage point here. We are on the rooftop of the London House Hotel, so it's really champagne problems here as well. We've had a great view of Michigan Avenue. We have a great view of Wacker, which is closed, of course, half of it. And we've seen this crowd grow in size, Luke. It was a few hundred when we got out here early this morning around 8 o'clock. We could still hear a boisterous crowd. Everyone in Cubby Blue, the river now draped in it as well, and the crowd has really started to grow.
They dyed the river. It's thousands are down there now. It's a spectacular view. I'm going to have a mimosa, celebratory mimosa after this. You can see them packing up down Michigan Avenue right now. The buildings in the area, people are coming up on the balconies behind the Tribune Tower to get ready and see these buses once they come by. Over at the Wrigley Building, the W flag flying just below the clock of the Wrigley Tower. The Tribune Tower atop has a big W flag flying the W on the Tribune Tower, and down at the bottom, fans loading up. The river has been dyed blue. They started that about 9 o'clock this morning, and we have a spectacular place to watch this. We'll have this view for you as the buses start to come down this way. We're all anticipating it. The fans are waiting for it, and it's been a lot of fun. The season was a lot of fun. They've changed the way we watch Cubs baseball. Instead of waiting for something bad to happen, now Cubs fans can sit back, enjoy it. They're the champs, and by next year when it comes around, you can just enjoy baseball. You can have a good time because there's no more drought. There's no more curse to worry about or talk about. It's just winning baseball.
My favorite part about the Cubs winning wasn't just what we got to witness as fans, as media, as proud people who live in Chicago, as baseball fans. It's been every story that I have heard of somebody dedicating this win to someone in their family or one of their friends or someone they know who didn't get to witness it during the drought. And that's been probably the most emotional selling point for me. That's what I connect with, is hearing it's for your grandfather, it's for your great aunt, it's for your sister, for your brother, for your father.
Right.
And to see all these people here, you know that there's much more watching from up above. It's an amazing feeling, Cap.
All right, thank you very much, guys. We'll get back to you in a little bit. Joan Cusack joins us on the set here as well. I'm David Kaplan. He's CM Punk. Of course, John Cusack. You're an Evanston girl, and John was telling us about taking the train. I remember taking the Skokie Swift into the Howard L., get down to Wrigley. I was a vendor down there. What are your memories? Because you are a diehard baseball fan.
Okay, thank you for that. I did come a little late to the game. I didn't get what was going on with baseball the whole time, although my dad, when he held my son for the very first time, it was the first grandkid, looked at him and said, "You are anointed a Cubs fan." That was the first thing he said.
That's a true story. That's no flavor.
So
I was there.
My dad loved the Cubs the whole time. John, is a Cubs fan before he was ever an actor, ever.
Oh, yeah.
First
things first.
He's not even here as a celebrity, he's here as a Cubs fan.
Chicago Cubs fan.
How about
And
that?
I get the religious element of baseball.
There is. We were talking about that.
No
He's
doubt.
not a religious guy. I'm not a super religious guy, and it's walking into Wrigley is like a religious experience.
Yeah.
Even though I work there, every time I see the green grass and the ivy, I'm like, this is the greatest place in the world.
And there's nowhere else you'd rather be,
Nowhere.
right?
But
Nowhere.
seriously, it's like Buddhist. Like how these guys, I mean, Ross, when he was talking about, you just have to let it go, your failure. You have to just stay in the moment the whole time. And see these guys that are so incredibly talented, and they fail 7 out of 10 times, and the only way you get through it is letting it go. It's so deep.
And focusing on the next moment.
Exactly.
Which
one
is-
batter, one pitch, one
Yeah.
out at a time.
You know, and I was saying too, no matter what
I'm gonna
happened,
make shirts with that slogan.
no matter what happened in the game, when I saw them going back to having those Cub at bats with Schwarber in there, which is like, no, that's an inch outside, and I just saw the good at bats return, and you saw them seeing the balls well. I knew it was going to be a roller coaster, but I knew we weren't going to have a heart. They were going to go out playing their brand of baseball, gambling, great batter's eye.
Didn't you feel like when Theo got it, no disrespect to anybody else that came before them, that like, okay, now we've got the smartest group running our team. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think they already had a pedigree because they did it in
They had a
Boston.
cachet.
Yeah, so
But they knew how to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
They did it. I love that they did it that way. That way that you just believe in people. You stay loose. You don't let the pressure get to you. And you just every single time, even when you'd see plays and they were you're like, oh my God, it's over, and then it just wouldn't be because they kept showing up.
They were resilient. It's
It's a great word for them.
I mean, when Chapman got hit there, I mean that's getting stretched, but like Kerry Woods and these other teams, they may not have gone the distance, but man, they had this huge heart and they got up off the mat.
All right.
Again and again.
We got to go back to the bus. The guy who gave the most motivational speech at Game 7 during the rain delay, Jason Hayward, is with Kelly Crow.
Jason, you joined this team in the offseason with the intent of a brotherhood, of doing something special. And as you pass all of these fans and see what you've done, what does it mean now?
I'm so proud of these guys, my teammates, coaching staff, the whole organization, front office, Ricketts family. Actions speak louder than the words, and everybody put everything they had into this year. And I'm just humbled by the experience, and what a time for Chicago, what a time for Cubs fans, and I'm just happy to be a part of it right here with these guys. And I love this city, and so proud of them, and happy they get to celebrate this today.
How would you describe this moment right now as you're looking out and seeing all these fans and sharing it with your teammates?
This is this experience right now is unbelievable. World Series, you win a ring, you play the last game of the year, you win that game, and all those things. But right here, this is why you do it, to get to celebrate and spend that time with the guys you went out there and worked from day one with, and share with the city that you play for. And there's no better city to play for in sports.
When you dreamt of this moment, because everybody does, right? The championship, the ring, the parade. Does this live up or exceed your expectations?
We're just getting started, and I feel like the guys on our bus, KB, Dex, Riz, we're already overwhelmed, and we know there's a lot more to come down the road for this parade. So we're just, again, we're really happy we get to share it with this fan base, and unbelievable turnout. It's a Friday, school's not out yet, whatever. But Chicago doesn't care. Chicago's going to celebrate, and as they should, and rightfully so. I'm very happy for them.
What's the deal with the WWE belt for Chris? What's behind that story?
I don't know what the story is behind that yet. There's always a new story though, so you just gotta stay tuned with us, because there's always something different every day. So we'll find out that one later. But if anybody's gonna hold the belt, it should be here and Riz, and those are my 2 MVP votes for sure.
Well, we didn't get to catch you the other night, but I know David Ross has meant so much to you in your career, and getting to watch him go out like this. I can't believe you didn't want to be on his bus today, right? But
yeah, but I gotta let him go with his boys, man. And not to say we're not, but we're all boys, and that's what's awesome. This is kind of the second tier bus, I guess, or whatever, with Riz, KB, and Dex. Just we all share a bond as teammates, and I'm so happy for Rossi to go out the way he did. If you're gonna retire, that's the way you want to go out. Obviously, he did it in Boston. I'm so happy to get to do it with him here in Chicago. Obviously, we overcame a lot of things, throughout the regular season, but we made history here, and for him to start his career, for me to start my career with him in Atlanta and him to finish his career with me here in Chicago as a world champ, that's unbelievable.
I can't believe he's calling this the second tier bus, guys. I think this is bar none the first tier. And I'll tell you what they did. The older guys all had to be together in case they needed the defibrillator, and had a heart attack.
The older guys got more championships, though.
There you go. I did hear you guys giving John a little bit of crap. Hey, this is your first one? No, this is your third one, right? So, but you guys will now get to match that story here in Chicago.
Absolutely. We're so proud of these guys, so proud of this group, and everybody have fun today. Unbelievable. Have fun for the rest of the time. We'll all remember it forever, and rightfully so. Congratulations.
Jason, always a pleasure. Enjoyed us. Thank you.
Let's go.
Guys, Jason Hayward.
Cool. All right, Kelly, thank you. Jason Hayward, thank you. We were talking about the motivational speech that he gave, and I read an article this morning about it where they said Addison Russell and certain guys were literally crying as he spoke before they took the field. That's going to go down as an indelible memory for a lot of people.
Well, amen, and amen that they were crying.
There you go.
Yes, you should cry. It's like that. I feel like that's like modern sports. Like men are allowed to cry. You're allowed to feel things.
There you go.
You can't just like tough it out and grind it out and suck it up.
That's right.
You got to be loose and you got to be relaxed.
In touch
and you got
with your
to trust
feelings.
trust yourself, and feel good.
You got to care enough.
You got to care.
Right,
yeah.
it's not about the money. It's about you. I think you said it earlier.
Not at that moment.
Those guys, they're not going, I get a $400,000 bonus out of it. No, they're like,
they weren't thinking about contracts. They're thinking about the
I
fans.
want to win for this city.
Yeah.
I want that ring.
And
That's
for the
what they
team,
wanted.
that's like a team. They feel
were
like such a team.
You're an athlete. They were a unit.
No, absolutely. I've said it ad nauseum on this broadcast. My favorite thing about them is how everybody contributes. Like you said, Almora Jr.
That's me too.
How about that tag up?
He doubles up and he gets the base. Hayward, people are on him because his bat isn't hot. And then he makes this ridiculous catch off the wall, throws a guy out at second. Everybody contributed. Three catchers.
Miguel Montero has 2 hits. One of them was an 0-2 pitch to Grand Slam to beat San Francisco. He doesn't get another bat until he gets the game-winning knock.
Gets to LA.
Oh, he got it in L.A. But look, he had a long time in between.
And then he gets the hit in Game 7.
And the redemption, too. Guys
All
trying to bare hand
everybody.
stuff, coming back, hitting home runs. David Ross, fumbles the ball at the plate, falls over, later on home run.
For a team of stars, young stars, it was an absolute group team
Every
win.
single guy
Every
contributed.
pitcher.
Up and down the line.
And they all had their ups and downs.
It's got to be Madden, too, that he treats them that way. He's like, you are a team, and he switched them around all the time.
Yeah, that was wild. That was beautiful,
that's
too.
as it should be. It's not like you just do your job, and it's not my table. You're a community.
Yep. I like how Joe operates. He's just, hey, man, whatever makes you happy. Just go out and play hard.
Is he like a weirdly different kind of
Yeah, I've never been around a
operator?
coach like this.
Never.
Why?
Never.
Why? How did he get there? How did he get
He threw
to
out
like,
all the old rules. We don't need batting practice. Hey, you think you look hot, you can wear that. It's not make sure you have your blazer on with your tie. He's just different.
You know what he is? He's your dad who doesn't take the game too serious.
Correct.
There's a lot going on. It's a high-pressure situation, and then guys are making millions of dollars, and, there's agents and managers and contracts and all this stuff, and he's just like,
But maybe he knows, because he knows baseball, that pressure kills.
Yeah, right. And
It kills.
Well, what was the
Anything
first thing he
you
said
do.
when he got hired? Don't let the pressure exceed the pleasure.
Yeah.
But that's with everything in life. I mean, you tell that to your kids. You're like, don't feel so. Life isn't just
Wouldn't it
about
be the same
feeling
thing what you
pressured.
guys do for a living when you act? You're passionate
Totally.
about what you're doing. Don't let the pressure of the scene
Right,
take away from the pleasure
but I
you're
mean,
getting delivering it to
right.
us.
Yeah.
But it's with everything, right?
Right.
I mean, your job, anyone's job, you can feel pressure, and then you're like paralyzed.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
But
like
you
not
have
a way
to
to live.
you have to, in order to perform in a good way, you have to be in touch with your inner kid, and Matt just lets him. You can see
Right.
Travis Woods going out to the outfield. He's grinning like, I get to play outfield.
Right.
And it's all on. He takes all the pressure, and he says, "Yeah, it's all on me." And
Right.
you guys go.
This doesn't work. It's me.
Yeah, you guys go.
And
Have
that's
fun.
what a good parent does too.
He's
You're
a
like,
pr-
you
he is.
guys just we're gonna
He's a
figure
parent.
it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He parents a bunch
the
of
best.
And then we have veterans playing like kids and kids playing like veterans.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing stuff to see. Anyway, we've got a lot more coverage coming here on CSN. Kelly with the one and only Anthony Rizzo.
Wow.
There's a
That's
lot.
the way to do it. You just come, see that, and just get out.
So you're figuring it out, just in case. Anthony, what words do you have for what you're seeing right now with this city, the excitement, and this parade? This is what it's all about.
Yeah, it is, and it's awesome. It's so much deserving in this city. This is what the ultimate goal is about, and you hear guys who've said it before. You want that parade, and we're here, and now we're about to be on Michigan Ave, and ultimate. It's a dream.
Describe the emotions as we're rolling along here. And mind you guys, he is sitting on the very back of the bus here. I will take care of the first baseman. I don't know that I'm going down with him, though. I really don't. No, describe the emotions that you're feeling right now.
It's just everything's coming in, all the hard work you put into the year, and even go bigger than that, all the hard work you've put in your life, my whole life. Everyone that's been in it, involved in it, that's helped me along the way. It's just, this is the dream come true, and I never want this moment to stop.
What's it like to share it with the guys you're getting to share it with, too, from Dexter Fowler to Jason Hayward and, of course, Chris Bryant?
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, the closest friends on the team, our families are all pretty close, and to have our families here is just, it's amazing.
I feel like you're having a hard time just soaking it all up. It goes so fast, right? We're really only going 5 miles an hour right now, but it feels like we've only been on this bus for 3 minutes, and it's already probably been an hour.
I swear it takes me longer to get home from the field than it is than we've already been on this thing. So it's just trying to slow the moment down as much as I can, and really embrace this and realize that we're the reason for this. The players, the organization. From top to bottom, everyone down from the Dominican League to Mr. Ricketts, everyone in between is just, we're the reason for it.
What conversations have you had that have really stuck out over the past couple days, whether it be just someone that reached out and said something that really stuck with you, or just someone you didn't even expect to hear from?
The conversation I had with Rossi, probably, I don't even know when it was, but maybe last year, he said, just wait till you're in the World Series and you're the last 2 teams playing. There's no one else, and then you're the last one standing, and we're the team celebrating now.
You were right next to him, arm around him, telling him how you were in a glass case of emotion. The emotion ended up all paying off in the end, and I imagine what you've gotten to experience with him just in the last 48 hours has to be pretty special as well.
Yeah, it was. That game was it's one of the best games ever. So to send Rossi out a champion it's awesome. We'll be linked forever together.
Okay, and you gave John Lester a hard time because he's done this before, but now you've got something up on him because he's never done it here. I mean,
no, he's never done it here. No one has. No one living has. So he keeps saying, I remember my first parade. Well, my first parade is the best one ever, so it's awesome.
Anthony, enjoy this. Thanks again so much. Hang on tight back here.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Guys.
Boy, Anthony Rizzo, a kid he's only one of 2 players on this team that were here in 2012 when they lost 101 games. Him and Travis Wood, and here they are 4 seasons later. That's not that long a time in baseball terms to be on a team that won 103 and won the World Series.
Well, and to be responsible for partly what the culture was supposed to be, the winning culture. You're thrusting that upon Anthony Rizzo. You were going to say, listen, we're going to assume you know how to win, young man, as you come into the big leagues after 1 or 2 years, then deal with the losing, and then snap your fingers and help these kids understand what the transformation's supposed to be all about. Listen, it takes a very unique personality, a guy like Anthony Rizzo that can embrace that. You watched him in the World Series. You saw a lot of his emotion play out, which I thought was really cool, on the top step of the dugout, putting his arm around Rossi. He was the right man for the job. Not everybody could have walked in and said, I'm going to be a loser. I know the team I'm getting ready to break in with is going to lose. Establish himself, and then be responsible, the clubhouse leader for a winner.
And then you also had the fact that he went through his own, cycle and drama through the NLCS. There was talks when he says, when are Russell and Rizzo going to hit? When are they going to hit? And they had to go through that.
And find their way on the other side.
Arrive at this place where they had done it on the biggest
I loved
stage.
when he was in the dugout in Game 7, and the cameras, I don't know if you saw the coverage because you were at the game. I didn't get to see it till yesterday. They have the voices where the microphones in there, sounds of the game, and he has his arm on David Ross. He's like, from Anchorman, I'm in a glass case of emotion right now. It completely goes over Ross's head, but that told me he's actually pretty chill if he's quoting movie lines.
Yeah, and then when he was on third base after Zobrist does. I mean, Zobrist might be the only guy who didn't. I don't even know if he had a bad at bat all year.
Yeah, it's what
I don't know.
Like, I said the same way to Kathy in the postgame.
The guy was so unbelievable. He hits the thing, and Rizzo's on third base, and you
Oh
see him
my
going,
God.
"Oh my God!" That's what we were all doing in the audience.
Yeah, because it hit him in that moment. Here we are. Here we go.
To get up
You
off
go,
the deck like
we
that.
go.
To get
All
up
right.
off the deck.
Back to Chris Bowden. He is on the parade route right outside Grant Park.
Cap, thanks a lot. I hope you got your sunscreen on a day like today for that noggin of yours. It is so bright and so warm out here, and we're probably at the quietest spot on the parade route at this very moment. All the hype and the hoopla going on at Wrigley and North Michigan Avenue right now. Everyone in this location on the north end of Grant Park at Columbus and Monroe kind of sitting tight here. It's been quiet, the loudest cheers we've had so far for a fire truck going the opposite way, a non-emergency situation, of course. But here, as the team and the caravan will come down Columbus, heading south toward where you guys are at Hutchinson Field, we're outside the Art Institute. Again, this is the northernmost area of Grant Park where fans can start gathering. There's another group of fans about a block west along Michigan Avenue. They won't let them come in from there. I think most of the fans here to come up here more towards Monroe and then lining up all the way down on Balboa. So we're probably, about 10, 15 minutes away from these trolleys, the police first, then the trolleys and the caravan coming your way before the party really starts, where you guys are. So that's it from the north end of Grant Park. Let's send it back to one of the Cubs buses. Our Kelly Kroll caught up with Chris Bryant's dad, Mike.
Well, guys, I'm now joined by Mike Bryant. What an experience. Describe what the last, 48 hours have been like for you.
I think I've finally been in my entire life speechless. I didn't have any more words. And actually, I've been talking so much. No, this is, I haven't stopped crying since we left. This is amazing.
I was going to say, I can sense the emotion.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? Everything that you guys have worked for, and to see this team full of such great guys experience this?
I think when you see someone realize their dream and they're your own with flesh and blood, and you know, it's so hard to hold back emotion under those circumstances. I mean, this thing hasn't stopped. The game hasn't stopped giving back for about 4 or 5 years straight right now. This is, you know, I don't know what I did to deserve this. This is unbelievable. I wish it on everyone. This is unbelievable from a dad, to be a dad and watch this happen to your son.
I was just going to say, we'll have our photographer pan over and show Chris up there, and I want you just to walk us through this moment as you're looking up at him. You're seeing the skyline of Chicago in the background, and then millions and millions of people.
Well, I'm like, Chris, you know, I want him to give more of himself, you know, to each and every one of those people out there. That was incredibly moving in Wrigleyville to see that many people hit 120 dB. I mean, I couldn't believe how loud it was. It was so moving, but to watch Chris, you know, experience this and to be able to share it with Chicago it is unbelievable to see the love on everybody. I mean, they've waited so long for this, and in all its complexity, it's just a game. and we have to remember that a little game can bring so much happiness to adults. They're back to being kids again, you know, and I've never lost that, you know. I'm so sold on this game and so passionate about it. And then just to be so connected to it with him right there.
It's incredible the way it can bring a community together, and we're seeing that in front of our eyes, and to know your son was part of the history that's going to change how people view the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah. You know, I've always said, you know, to whom much is given, much is expected, and I think Chris is starting to realize that, especially today. This is a culmination of all that, and look at the gift that you gave to the city. The game has kept giving to you for so long now, you know, and it will continue as long as you continue to give back. And boy, this is a huge gift for the 10 million people in Chicago. It's unbelievable. I feel like I just won the World Series, you know, And that's how close. Yeah, I do. I feel like I did, and I got to take a step back, from that, but to live vicariously through your kid. Look at me, guys. I recommend it.
You're the rock for him, though. They all need their rocks, and you're that guy.
I would have gone to the ends of the earth for my son to give him the opportunity just to play. And now, he created that opportunity, and now he's playing in the best league on the planet against the best players on the planet, and he's becoming one of the best players in the league, and he's going to be driven to get better. And I'm already talking to him about what we're going to do for next year already. He's like, Dad, I said, no, champions, they take a few hours off to sleep. That's about it.
They do. They got to soak this in. Well, tell us about the championship belt here. Did that come out of your closet?
Oh, no, that's pretty cool, though. No, when I saw it, the first thing Chris said to Rizzo was, you're not getting this.
That sounds about right. They always are having fun, and boy, they gotta soak up this moment along with you, Mike. We appreciate your time.
Oh, anytime. I love this.
Thank you, guys. Mike Bryant, Chris's dad.
Luke Stuckmeyer and Layla Rahimi. We are 22 stories above the Michigan Avenue Bridge, where the buses are now starting to come up Michigan Avenue. We've got a great vantage point. Our photographer Erica Fogel will pan over eventually and show you as they start to come up. We've heard, Layla, some of the trolleys with front office people starting to come up and down the street, down Michigan Avenue, and you can hear the roar slowly start to come up 22 stories. I can't imagine how loud it's going to be here when the fans see those players on those double-decker buses. You can start to see more of the trolleys coming. We've heard tubas blaring down low, and also we have the river boats starting to position themselves along the bridge, and they're blaring their horns as they're waiting the players to come.
Yeah, so the good news is if you are in a high-rise downtown, you can tell they're coming because we're hearing a crescendo of noise, positive noise, of course. And normally when a helicopter's overhead and sirens are blaring and you hear a lot of people, it's not a good sign. In this case, it is completely the opposite. One of the quintessential Chicago scenes that I enjoy so much seeing right now, all the boats on the river, Cubby Blue, and they have the W on top of the boat, so those who are in the high-rise buildings can look down and see it. A lot of people put their boats away at the end of October. They might be regretting that decision now. As we look down, we see pace cars, we see a truck carrying the big version of the trophy. Of course, everybody wants to see the real size version of the trophy that will be carried by the players as we start to look and see who's coming south as they head downtown.
All I know is I can see 4 helicopters above us right now off in the distance. I can hear the horns blaring up Michigan Avenue. We're peeking right around the corner of the Wrigley building down between the Tribune Tower. And again, you can hear the audio starting to build up. It's so fun to look down these high rises and see the people atop the high rises on their decks. There's a guy behind us. He must be 26 stories up, and he's just poking his head out a window trying to get a glimpse of this. This weather is unbelievable, and you know, when you wait 108 years for a party like this, I think Cubs fans deserve a nice blue sea day here in Chicago. It is spectacular. What a view we have up here.
It's so much fun to watch. I'm a little worried about the people who are hanging out of the windows because they don't have screens. So guys, please be careful just for me. One of the fascinating things to see too, Luke, is that the northbound lanes of Michigan Avenue are filled with people right now.
Yeah.
You're standing in the middle of the street and you get to watch this in the middle of the street, and there are so many people, thousands. We've seen them all start to slowly come out. We've seen crowds as early as 8 in the morning. Everybody fired up to be here. They got their spots, and now they get to enjoy this and really bask in the sun and enjoy the weather and everything that is a part of today.
Layla, you're talking about a 4-mile parade that's going on, and it's not an exaggeration to say people have come from all over the world within 48 hours to try and get to this parade. There's people down there. I ran into a guy that was here from Vietnam, had come here. All over, you know, the whole state of Iowa's here. Nebraska, full of Cubs fans. My nephew came and my sister came just from Milwaukee, so people are coming from Wisconsin just to see this Cubs parade. But when you go down there, literally people from all over the world. China, I saw a guy from Korea said he had waited to get here, and we're starting to see them slowly wait for these buses, but we're almost here, Cap. This is the celebration of a century. We've waited for this our whole lives. Some people waited for many generations in their family to see this parade. What a celebration this is, Cap.
All right, thank you very much, Luke. It is. It's a parade that I think growing up in Chicago you dreamed of. Man, I wonder if the Cubs could ever get like that parade down that, what do they call it in New York, the Canyon?
The ticker tape parade.
Yeah, ticker tape parade. I remember 85, January 86, the Bears had the parade, but then the Challenger thing happened, the accident, and everything kind of went on hold. And we've never really had it. And then the Bulls arrived, and the Bulls were really cool. But we've never had it for this team, and it seemed like it would never happen.
I just think it's because it's been 108 years, and I think because the Cubs are just so ingrained in popular culture. You know, when you
nationally.
Yeah. No, I definitely think. I think everybody at MLB is happy. You know, I think the most people watch this World Series than I can remember, and it was an amazing, exciting 7 games. So, you know, hopefully those people are coming back. You know, they made some new baseball fans. It's just amazing. It still hasn't sunk in for me.
Well,
I'm with you
because it's beyond baseball, and I think that's your point. And that's the way that I see it. I mean, I get it. In baseball culture and talk and lingo, and you get the teams and who are your favorites and who's supposed to win every year. But being here today, I think looking at all of you who are from Chicago, born and raised here. Thinking that this moment is actually happening for you when I think most of you thought maybe I go down just like everybody else before me, living an entire life without ever getting to experience this.
Oh, and the thing about Chicago fans are they would say, and if we go out, I'm going to go out loving the Cubs. I'm going to go out, and it'll be the next generation.
Absolutely.
So there's some very unique thing happening here where, our hearts have been sort of broken, but they grow back stronger, and we just love this team, and they love the players, and the players love this city. It's something very unique
like
here.
You talked about going as a kid. You went as a kid. I went as a kid. My dad, I remember him taking me to my first game, and you come up the stairs and you go, okay, this place is awesome with the ivy. And so he's gone, and I'm going out Monday, and I'm going to take a pennant, and I'm going to set it on his grave and go, guess what, Dad? In fact, he'll tell you, when that final out was made, they're in our ear going, your guys are on in 90 seconds. And before that, I had to look up and go, we did it. It's just sad that so many fans aren't here to be able to experience it.
This was never supposed to happen. I mean, in the mid-'80s, Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis wrote Back to the Future, and in Back to the Future 2, they put in there that in the future, the Cubs win the World Series, and it was a joke because it was never supposed to happen. That joke was funny because the Cubs are never going to win.
Right.
This is never supposed to happen. Just take a look over your right shoulder. It's happening.
Okay, you're a movie guy. By the way, the buses are rolling down Michigan Avenue, so drink in the sight. You're a movie guy. Do you think that Hollywood will make a movie about this? It's so enormous.
I don't know. I in a weird way, I hope not, because I think the real thing is a much better version. So,
way cooler.
Yeah, it's much better. And but I think you could, if you tried to capture it, you just couldn't. Like, I was on the social media and I was looking through the stories, and they said there was a gentleman who literally went to his father's grave.
I got the story right here.
And he listened to the win, and immediately when I was in that stadium, I just looked up. I thought,
to grave to share Game 7. Drove 650 miles from North Carolina to his dad's grave. Set his smartphone down, put it on speaker, and said, Dad, I promised you, if we were ever going to win the World Series, I'd listen to it with you.
So immediately, me and my sister and my family, we thought about my father, and we thought about all those things.
Unbelievable.
But, the world is so full of hype and people adding, hyping themselves, me, right? But they don't understand that for Chicagoans, it's just different.
It is.
It's a different relationship to this team that does transcend sports.
This
it really
is a
does.
Provincial town. We want our own. You know what I mean? We grew up. That was our team. You don't go, they stink. I'll go pick the Yankees.
All you had to do was spend one afternoon, as we were all probably lucky to do, with Ron Santo or Billy Williams.
Unbelievable.
I mean, just one afternoon, you'd get a little taste of it. But then if you were there every game, root for these guys.
To your point, I mean,
you came here.
Well, and that's what I was getting at. But the first time I came here was as a 22-year-old outfielder for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And the first time I stood in the outfield, I said, I want to play in this town.
That's
This town is
everyone.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This is where I want to win. I want to be here. Now, it took me 10 years to finally get here, from that day. But, I mean, I got here. I mean, I felt it the minute I stepped into Wrigley Field and stepped into this great town.
What did Eric Karros tell us?
Oh,
every player should play at least one season for the Cubs.
I mean, Ryan Dempster was like the greatest. He was like, he was scouting for other players.
Right.
He just, he was at that stadium every day, handing out peanuts across the dugout to people.
And it's not just, and let me say this because I think it's important. It's not just our great town because of the great places to eat. Michigan Mile. And a lot of players love it for that. Nice hotels, just a lot of things to do in this great city of ours. It's the fans. I mean, in all honesty, I came here and I made one of the worst blunders of my life as an outfielder. Remember, I told you.
Oh, yeah, you caught the ball. There were only 2 outs, and he thought the inning was over. 2 runs scored.
You caught the ball. I wouldn't say it's a blunder.
Well, it was bad. It was real bad. Well, I did. I caught the ball, but I forgot how many outs there were. Sammy Sosa tags from second base and scores. Both guys, Mark Grace and Sammy, both score.
You can find it on YouTube, folks.
Thanks. Right. Everybody check it out. But that was when I came here for the first time. It was cold. It was snowy. It was April.
Yeah.
And I made a mistake, and the fans were giving me the business. They were like, "Oh, you don't know. Giving me the business. We'll just leave it at that." But their passion just came through. Even being on the other side, I thought, these people are the best. These are the best kind of fans right here.
I'll tell you one other thing just on that point, which is everybody says, "Oh, they're the lovable losers. They're just a bunch of cake eaters out there on the north side drinking beer." They watch the game.
Oh,
why do you think they love David Ross?
Right.
Why do you think they love these players? Or why do you think when Andre Dawson came here and said, "You write in how much I want to play here,"
right.
and he with that knee, the way he played, or anybody who busts their tail, plays it the right way, the fans get it and they love it, and they're always there.
Yeah, I think other fans in other places, a lot of the times they'll get hurt when a player leaves. I can't remember the last time a Cub. I mean, even Kerry Wood. He left. He played for another team. When he came to Wrigley Field, everybody stood up and clapped.
Right.
Nobody booed him.
Right.
Oh, no one would ever boo Kerry.
Yeah, but
and then he wanted to retire as a Cub.
I can't remember the Cubs fans ever booing anybody in that way.
I remember David DeJesus, who was a nice guy. He wasn't here very long, 2 years. He goes to Tampa, and they come in here, and a standing ovation for David DeJesus because they liked how he played.
Right. That's what I mean. They're not.
Once a Cub, always a Cub, and you can appreciate that as a player or a former player or a former Cub. And I think that's when I say we get it. As former players, like we talk about, Ernie and Ronnie and. What this means to them. They've obviously left us and, kind of how it means in all of this. But there's a lot of former players out there in the United States right now that are watching this thinking, I was privileged enough to put that uniform on. I got it when I was there. I wished it could have happened for me. It didn't. But I'm so happy that this city actually gets to experience this.
But in a way, it did happen for them too.
Well, we're living. I'm living through them.
I don't know, man. I think it's for everybody.
What year was that play where you caught the ball and forgot how many outs?
96, 97.
Why don't we show everybody exactly that play? Take a look. There's our guy, Holly Todd, 28. There's not 3 outs in the inning.
Thanks, man.
Thank
You're
Nelly.
the best, Cappy.
Thank Nelly
Appreciate
back
it.
there in the booth.
I'm glad I've never
more in
done
before the
anything
end of the
embarrassing
season, right?
on camera that you guys can show right now. Let me tell you.
I've done too many embarrassing
Yeah,
things.
that's what I mean. I'm nervous now.
You could fill up a whole
I'm nervous.
And it's amazing.
But
I saw
do you feel
somebody tweeted, there's only whatever number of days left till opening day.
Right. Pitchers and catchers. When do they report?
February 15th, baby.
Awesome.
Right around the corner.
Hey, listen, I drove to Cleveland. So on the way to Cleveland and on the way back, it was all Cubs.
Yeah.
Every single license plate had the Cubs bracket.
I wouldn't know. I was sleeping on the way back.
Every rest stop I went to, everybody's wearing Cubs stuff.
Well,
but we're silently observing each other and recognizing each other. Just a little nod. Nobody said anything on the way there, but on the way back, every time I stopped, everybody's high-fiving. Everybody's loud. Everybody, it was just such a nice moment.
The Cleveland Stadium was packed with Cub fans. They all started yelling "Klub" or "Klub." Right. You'd just be getting random fans just coming up and bear hugging you, no problem. But I got to say too, the Cleveland fans were all class, man. They were into their team, but then something good would happen. They look and they go, "Good luck."
Right.
And
they got it.
They get it.
They
and
were
I'll tell you,
68 years. We were 108. They understood the pain.
Yeah.
But they had a lot of class in that town. They treated everybody really well.
We drove back right after, I should say, he drove back right after the championship game. I got in the car. And,
Senior citizens need their sleep.
oh, man, I passed out. I was out.
Did you cry?
We drove there.
Or did you cry?
I cried.
He cried
Absolutely.
a little bit,
100%.
When?
100%. I got emotional when the final out happened, and then I cried watching a couple of the videos where it's like, you know, Eddie Vedder's song with the highlights and the youth, and it was really tough. All right, I think the buses have reached where, Nelly? Where are we at? Monroe and Michigan? Monroe and Columbus. So they are right here, and we should have not too much longer where they'll be on this stage behind us here, and it will be a glorious celebration of the best team in all of baseball.
Can you give me some sunscreen?
Yeah, I'm
getting a little red up here, I think.
Isn't it great? Can you believe this is November 4th?
It's unbelievable.
It's crazy.
Insane. Perfect day, right, for the perfect team.
It is.
I love
it's
it.
like the good
I'm
Lord
excited.
said, all right, John Lester tweeting. You can follow him at JLester34. He's tweeting about the parade. And you'll see those tweets as they roll across our screen here on CSN. Loves the Blue River. I think the Blue River is amazing. I know every year on St. Patty's Day they dye it green. I think it's pretty cool that Mayor Emanuel got them to dump Cubby blue dye in and dye it blue. I think it's pretty cool.
Can't beat it. It's beautiful.
How do they do that?
I don't know how they do that, but as he's so
How do you make a river blue?
Rivers are supposed to be blue.
Yeah,
that's true.
I think they put dye in it. We were watching the boats racing up and down it, and I think they stir it up that way.
I don't know. We should go jump in.
Yeah, I'm all about it.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
I'm in.
Yeah, let's go.
I'll do it.
You know,
blue.
John, you
Look
said
like
something
Smurfs.
that Game 7 was like a microcosm of the season, the
Oh, my God.
torture of being a Cub fan. It really was.
Yeah.
There were beautiful moments. Then there was the home run, and you're like, you got to be kidding me.
There was all the heart, the redemption, some failures, the setbacks, getting gut punched, but then getting up off the deck. That's the thing. This team, for all throughout the years, even when they didn't have the talent, there were still players who played the game the right way and played with such heart. And this was like an entire season in a game.
Yeah.
I was exhausted. I couldn't. My throat's coming back now.
Why
But
do you think I slept the whole way?
Do you have a favorite player, favorite Cub player you like, style?
In my lifetime or on this team?
No, on this team.
It's too hard to. It's too hard to pick. You know, I say Rizzo, but then there's Bryant. And I love Montero because to me he's like the heart of the team. I like Lackey because he's like this surly old guy who keeps everybody in check.
How about all time as a kid from the beginning?
That's Jose Cardinal for me.
I loved Jose Cardinal. He lives in the Chicago area.
Yeah.
Loved him.
Andre, Bill Buckner, I loved his time.
I wore number 10 in Little League because I loved Santa.
What?
Do you have a favorite?
It's like
Cub
you love guys
Yeah.
for different reasons.
Correct. I was
like
very into
Hector
Baez,
Villanueva because
just
of the way
because I'm
Harry
always
Carey
interested in
said
the
his name.
potential.
You know what I mean?
The potential of the guys.
Villanueva.
And I thought he would do something every day with the glove that it was sort of like watching Ozzie Smith. You know, we thought you can't do that. I've watched all these great players do that, but he's doing stuff that I haven't seen before with the tags and stuff.
Sure.
And then knowing that his bat would come around, but I love them all. And Chris Bryant's an MVP, so it's almost like you take for granted this kind of 5-tool skills that he has.
And then you think about it, and there's
But of course,
22-year-old
Rizzo, Anthony
Addison
being
Russell,
a
25-year-old Chris Bryant, 26 Anthony. You're like, wow, we actually should be good for a while.
And then Schwarber, of course. But everybody on the team, I was thrilled when they got Coughlin back.
23 years old.
As odd as that was to admit, a great discussion kind of was out there during this World Series because the Indians had this incredibly long drought and still do in winning a World Series as the Cubs did. Now, it was 108 years versus, 68 years, I believe, something like that. But, that was the argument that was kind of being posed was the idea that this team is going to be really good for a long time.
Yeah.
So, and I heard a couple Cleveland people selling this. I mean, I wasn't buying it, but they were like, you can have
Let
your
us
World
win this
Series.
year because
We'll
you're going to
this
win
year
a lot.
because we're not going to be back for a while. You guys can wait because you're going to be really good for a long time. And I mean, I think you guys both see that in this team. I mean, this is a really good team that we're going to be talking about for a while.
They're good and they're young.
Yeah.
and a lot of them are locked into some lengthy contracts. So
well, and then I was talking to some normie baseball fans, right, who like the Cubs, but think that they don't understand,
right.
And they're like, "Oh, Kyle Schwarber will be gone in the offseason. He's a DH player." I said, "That bat's not going anywhere.
Not happening.
That kid, that young man, with that kind of character." It's not going anywhere.
Not going anywhere.
Not going anywhere.
And, Joe Madden said this morning that because as he put it, all the crap is gone now, the Billy Goat and all this nonsense, he goes, now we can move forward unencumbered with all this talent. That's pretty good.
Well, and even the applied pressure from outside sources should be much less than it's ever been. Players always feel that pressure, but I think that goes away now.
All right, let's take a timeout. The players will not be too far down the road getting on this stage. We'll have it all for you. Quick timeout. We'll come right back on CSN.
Tough play, Bryant. The Cubs win the World Series. Bryant makes the play. It's over. And the Cubs have finally won it all. 8-7-10.
Mike Montgomery got Michael Martinez to ground out the end of 10th inning and end a 108-year drought, and is one of our top plays of the postseason. Back in here to Hutchinson Field at Grant Park on an absolutely cloud-free, spectacular day in the greatest city in the world.
Get you some sunscreen.
Chicago is just unbelievable. He raised his kids here.
Yeah, I live here year-round.
He does.
Yep.
He's been here a long time. You grew up in the suburbs. You grew up in the suburbs. I grew up in the suburbs. And I keep turning around. I go, I'm just looking out going, and always wondered, when's my team going to get its chance, finally?
Do you guys hear the odd silence, like there's this anticipation, like they know they're close? Do you feel that right now?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you. You know what I think it is? Here's what I think it is. Because last night I got back from Cleveland at 7 a.m. I watched the game again because I wanted to make sure that it had happened. Right. So I think maybe there's a little bit. Everyone wants to make sure that wasn't like the Apollo moon landing.
Right
yeah,
now.
I know.
CM and I are both it hasn't sunk in yet. Just processed it.
Well, you were in Cleveland though, right?
Yeah.
Some part of it hit you there because we saw that final out.
It did, but we were in game mode. We were on the air.
Yeah.
I want to just sit down on my chair, have a beer, and just watch, hear the calls, and just go.
Right.
And I think just being a Cubs fan, not being able to hear the calls and stuff like that, because I think JD and Len do a great job, and sometimes I watch playoff baseball and I get bummed out at the commentators.
Right.
And I couldn't see the strikes because even that Chapman was out of the inning, right?
Yeah,
that was the
watching live, and I'm going, oh, I gotta watch this when I get home because I gotta see where these strikes are.
Well,
I gotta see what's going on.
You guys know. I'll tell you what ends up happening in Game 7s, in games that are decided. Here, umpires on borderline pitches, and I think that's what you guys were experiencing in Game 7. It happens all the time. Very common. Home plate umpire doesn't want to be talked about, so he wants. He wants you guys to swing the bats.
Unless you're Joe West, you want to be talking about that.
Well, but that was Game 6, and you're right. But it happens a lot in Game 7s. I see it because I end up talking about it all the time. But you see home plate umpires, they don't like putting up that.
West be a factor in the game, and he turned out that he was a little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Guys,
shocking.
I think it favored the Cubs to have good at bats because they got back to
which was pretty cool to see. You can hear the roar of the crowd as they are anticipating the arrival of their heroes, the 2016 World Series champion Chicago Cubs, and they are close, and as soon as they get up there, we will have everything for you. We'll carry the ceremonies and the speakers. I think Tom Ricketts is going to speak. Obviously, Mayor Emanuel will speak, and I think it's cool it's on a Friday because everybody just rolls into party mode the rest of the day.
And the schools were out today.
Yeah. A lot of schools.
Yeah. 3-day weekend. Let's do it.
I didn't even have to ask my sister if my nephew was coming to the rally.
Right.
Because I didn't realize school was out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a given.
He's coming.
Yeah, it's like two of his kids, or one of his kids and a friend is here. And I said, do you realize you're 14? That's all you waited to see this. I'm 55. I know how painful being a fan of this.
Here's my friends where I live. People have expressed it to me. I mean, what a joy that they're finally here. I talk about that release, and I see it in all of your faces. It is it. I mean, I expected them to win all along because I didn't know any better. You all know better.
And we never had a team that was this good. So you, looking at it like mathematically, baseball stats, you're like, look at this team. This team's going to do it. And we're all going, well, yeah, maybe. We hope they do.
It's happened. And I'm like, what do you mean things happen?
Right. It was 6-3, and I'm getting texts after, congrats, dude. I'm happy for you. I know you love that team.
Yeah, you weren't replying to him.
And I either didn't reply or I said, stop.
Yeah.
Not yet. And he's like, what are you doing? I said, you don't understand.
I was doing the same
Being
thing.
a fan of this team, there's no done deal.
I'm thinking, how do you give up on your team like that? Because I've never given up on this team ever. Not when they were awful. They were,
lay down.
Tough
team.
team.
These guys, that city went through the Browns. They went through, going through all that heartbreak.
Terry Francona is a good manager.
And Terry Francona is as good as anybody in baseball, and you knew they were going to make a run at it. So, fifth inning, I'm not thinking anything's locked up. I was hoping around.
We got this, man. We got this.
And
What's your problem?
yelled at him.
He'd start yelling at me.
Hey, did the L.A. Kings mascot tweet you at all about the Cubs?
I think he set out a nice congratulations, but this is after the L.A. series where he was just inundating me. This and that about how it's been so long since the Cubs won and all that. I think he set out a nice congratulations, but
after the pennant.
I haven't heard from any mascots.
No, okay.
Either.
Not fans from Garland, Jim Belushi to Bob Newhart. I mean, there's just tons.
That's my dad's era.
He tweeted a picture of him and Don Rickles holding up a W flag.
It was
and
really cool.
That just gets me.
It was really cool.
Don
Have you
Rickles.
heard from anybody in Hollywood that went, hey, man, I'm happy for you?
Yeah, both. Yeah, but mostly it's like, we did it.
Yeah.
It's always like,
I'm a fan, too.
You're in a fraternity of Cubs fans.
Right.
It's
that's what I'm saying.
we bear that. We have the scar, right?
Like you could go do a match.
Joe
do a
Montana,
movie.
Gary Sinise,
Right.
all the Murrays.
You go do these
Eddie
shows.
Vedder, Chris Chelios.
And there are guys that you could be doing a show with a million different people, but the few Cub fans are like, we got a bond, right?
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
My sister has a 5-6 months onesie next to a chalkboard that said, I've been waiting my whole life for this.
I have a question.
And I kind of got mad. I was like, that kid doesn't know. And she tweeted me back and she said, some would say that you don't know.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn it, my younger sister.
Witty.
So wise.
Let's not. He was here, and last year he had to get the sweep of New York, and so he thought we were going all the way. So he got his little heartbreak. We don't need any more of this. We can go back next year.
We're good.
Right?
In a way, I envy them because they don't know. But I also look at this like this might be a little sweeter for guys like us because we.
6 months from now, are there more Cub fans or less Cub fans? I mean, it's been 108 years. You know what I mean?
Well, more.
I kind of understand the question.
There's always going to be bandwagon fans,
right?
Do
you think it makes
let's talk about
more
LeBron
Cub
James
fans?
for a second here.
Because you talk about the bond, right?
Yankee fan,
Let's talk about LeBron James here. He's a guy who was criticized because he's off his head and he shows everybody. Like I don't know what he's thinking. I would never. I've thrown out a